Stickers eye color check. He does not have rape eyes. Stickers does not have.
What the fuck does that mean?
You know, let's say there's a like lots of girls might fuck you if I don't know, man. You can't drive or something, right? They might not want to fuck if you can't drive, but you're gonna go up to every girl you meet and say, "Oh, just like you know, I can't drive. So before we have sex, I can't drive. Just like you know, of course you don't fucking do that."
Right.
But and
what are rape eyes? Do I? I'm trying to catch the delay so I can see my own eyes. Blue eyes, certified rape eyes.
For some, it's like, yeah, no,
I don't even care about the rape. I don't care about the rape.
If you weren't watching yesterday, if you weren't watching yesterday, this guy is accused of sexual assault. Although the exact story isn't clear, and exactly what she means by sexual assault isn't quite clear. It seems like there's details missing. There's weird things about the story, and the video is very long. But this guy sent a cease and desist to the girl who posted that. I think she posted an initial video, kind of vaguely talking about it, but giving key details that, you know, unmistakably kind of like target when it happened and where it happened. Okay? He came on her sacred buttock. Yes. He sent a cease and desist about 18 months ago. The incident happened in 2021. She made the video a few weeks afterwards. Maybe like 2 months after it happened. Okay? And then she was messaging his wife. She was making Instagram stories, making tweets, kind of all of this kind of vaguely alluding to kind of what happened. Cease and desist was 18 months ago, and now she decides to make a video about a couple of days ago. And after she made a video making it very explicit and public, here we go. He's now responded in depth. It seems. Now, what has he confessed to so far? He's confessed to cheating. His wife found out, and then he blocked her soon after, and then they haven't spoken since. Let's have a look.
Hello, my name is Daniel Greene. This is an important message in response to various false allegations made against me by Naomi King of alleged sexual assault in a campaign launched on YouTube and more. Let me be clear. I had consensual sex with Naomi King. Yes, it was an affair that my then girlfriend and now fiance took several years to move on from. I also have clear and convincing evidence to prove everything was consensual. Myself and my team are now planning to sue Naomi King in a court of law. The communication Naomi King has inaccurately used against me online has greatly damaged me and others to date. I also have many other pieces of evidence which prove my innocence. Look for more communication from me based on truth and fact in the near future. Naomi King took time to launch a campaign against me, and I will need time to communicate my truth as well. More soon. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I guess the notable thing was... Okay. Is there anything that he links to? He links to his Twitter. He's got statements there. Now, the thing that I said yesterday is it seems as though Naomi King, the one who initially made the video, seems to have... the details are kind of strange. And when she's showing screenshots, quite a lot of them are quite heavily censored. And we don't see the context surrounding them. There seems to be no communication that of her alleging assault any time, even recently after. Not to him, not to his wife, not to her friends, which alleged at that point, I mean, he hasn't responded, so it's kind of setting it up as a I mean, at that point, he hadn't responded, so it was kind of, there was no real evidence given, unfortunately. All that was really given was that proof that he cheated, and combined with her original video, where she kind of said that, you know, if you Let me get the exact quote, okay? People mock me, okay? People mock me for my note-taking. People not mock me for my note-taking, okay? Did shit I didn't want. Coerced me, okay? One part of me thought it was assault, but you didn't fight back. That's our own internal monologue, okay? I was this man's therapist for 3 years. I recently came into contact with someone who assaulted him 7 years ago. That was a random Tumblr message. If you regret it later, it's not a crime. And she says this in the context of assault. It's not assault, according to the law, if you technically consented to it, and then you regret it later. The law doesn't account for how good predators are at lying. A lot of men date and mislead girls about their intentions, but the problem is, she goes into a more general conversation about dating and about, I guess, the factors that can play a role in essentially leaving a woman feeling like she was kind of right. A lot of men date and mislead girls about their intentions to get in bed. She says that's assault. Now the woman feels used. He did something you might not want. But in that context, it's not that she said that in the moment. And then I guess my thought was, does this kind of, leave room for people to have a genuine kind of change of heart? Intention and lies need to be part of the conversation. Intent and manipulation needs to be part of the conversation. So many people, this is another quote, so many people consented to things they don't actually want. Now, with that all put together, I thought that this is likely, especially given the fact that this is maybe a couple of months after he's got engaged, and given that it's almost 2 years after the cease and desist was sent, right? Insofar as he's intended to sue her, intended to silence her, I mean, he is now, right? She's made a public YouTube video about it, naming explicitly, in terms of when that cease and desist was sent. We've had 18 months and nothing's happened. I will be excited to see what he says, because there's definitely question marks, and I'm not saying it's beyond the realm of possibility, but I mean, there's no evidence, so kind of reserving judgment, right? And a lot of the behaviors exhibited around the time make it very, very odd, slightly unbelievable, and yeah, so I definitely doubted it. But let's have a look, because apparently Kuihman went over this last night, and apparently he had comments about my coverage, so I might try and see now. Subiganda VODs. Oh, there we are. Okay, so let me scrub through this. So he goes through the initial video. And then he just goes through the second video. Okay, kind of reads through a couple of the documents. Okay, here we are. It's about around this time. Okay, let's have a look.
Claims that she's lying, or that she's defaming him.
In fact, in the cease and desist, they claim to have proof to show that she's intentionally lying, which is not just that she's making this without evidence. They claim to have proof that she is making an intentional lie.
It's not.
That video might not be about Daniel, how do we know? Well, she confirms it in the second video. Daniel has some guilty conscience for assuming her vague videos about him. No. She made the video 7 weeks after the trip and the incident, right? She references going to Las Vegas with somebody who she'd been a therapist to for 3 years. She mentions there were previous allegations against him, right? From however many years ago. So she mentions the length of their relationship. She mentions the place that they went on holiday together. They mentioned previous allegations. There we are. So it was, if you knew that, absolutely about him. Absolutely about him. Parapon makes an excellent point, though. Listen, guys, we've got 86 people looking, okay? I've got no idea how many likes, but if you're watching the stream, I hugely appreciate a like. Takes 2 seconds, means a lot to me, okay? But if you want to take it one step further, you can send a super chat now. You can send a super sticker now. If you send a super sticker, I'll read out in the chat. $3 or more, the super chat automatically plays, and you get your name up there until somebody else donates again. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciate it. Thank you. Let's have a look. Hello, my beautiful
What it be
FTM
insane
King.
for an insane person to do? Like, I hate retards like this, man. You are so close, just getting timed out for like an hour or something.
What it be insane? Yeah, I'd ban that person as well.
Get on Discord. get on Discord. Just come and talk about it. Just saying she's insane, she'll do anything. This is one of the worst lines of argumentation I've ever fucking heard. You sound like such a stupid motherfucker.
Oh yeah, Ryle said that Kuihman wanted to go over it, so I privated the VOD for it.
That he also has access to.
Okay, there's N-words,
To completely change the context in a way that is obvious if it's her interest.
When's he get to my
I
coverage?
don't feel unlikely, because that'd be... Dude, she called...
What the fuck is he? He's caught me mid-groan. He's caught me mid-groan. She only outed him after the CD, right? Oh, cease and desist. 2 years after. Yeah, 2 years after.
Called her buttock sacred. Spinal, you must be trolling. Spinal. It's a fucking Filipino word. It's a batuk. It's fucking...
Soapbox, I covered it yesterday. So we're watching me, watching Kuihman, watch me. There we go.
Clothing item or some shit, dude. It's not... It wasn't buttock. It wasn't buttock like...
A batuk is a particular sacred tattoo. Yeah. It wasn't immediately after. It wasn't immediately after. She was sent the cease and desist in June or July of 2023.
It's the tattoo.
There's no immorality
there.
there.
You go.
And in fact, you're trying to have sex to think that that will develop an emotional connection in them so it can develop into a relationship. Listen, I don't want to fucking... Okay. In the abstract, I would say, depending on the intent, that could be a kind of emotional manipulation all in and of itself. Yeah, that's manipulation too. Not equally manipulative.
Actually, she raped him.
As like to be clear, somebody or lying.
Dick is killing it.
Oh, I think
Dick
this
is
to be clear, okay. I don't think that she raped him. Okay. Oh, I wish he would have gone back just to see what the fuck I was saying. Okay. So at this point, we're quite far into the video. She stopped really talking about him so much. There's an occasional detail, but I'm really at this time just trying to get like context about what she's saying, right? About what she's saying. And so at this point, she's talking about, it was in relation to this quote. Can I find it? Yeah. Yes, so many people consent to things they don't actually want. And she was saying about somebody who might consent to sex for the fact that they're hoping that it would end up in a relationship, and then it doesn't. So I was saying, if there's a lie there, and somebody's lied about it developing into a relationship, yeah, it's difficult to even say what that is. It's difficult to say what it is. I definitely say it's coercion. Coercion, manipulation. But I was saying people having sex with somebody else in the hopes that it will inspire emotions in them to join in a relationship. That's a kind of manipulation. And that's what I'm saying. So it depends on the... It depends on the intention. But it could be immoral. Depends on the intention. Coercion, 100%. It's not coercion. Because coercion has to be with an explicit threat, right? Coercion has to be with an explicit threat. Treacherous, manipulative, misleading, and violating. I don't know. Go somewhere. You know. Actually, in a year we'll be married. I need to. Oh, I already have a Obsidian Vault. I'll just use Obsidian instead. Good point. 1 sec. Which monitor is it going to open on? This one. Good. It didn't. And then next week you're gone, right? It's different. Oh. But yeah, they consented to things they didn't. I wish that he would go back and listen to what I was even saying at that point, because I feel this is an instantly given a very, very different read about what I was saying. Quote unquote actually want, but what?
Because eye color check. He does not have rape eyes. Stickers does not have.
What the fuck does that mean? What are rape eyes? Do I? I'm trying to catch the delay so I can see my own eyes. Blue eyes, certified, not rape eyes.
Rape eyes.
Maybe this could be okay if they like apologize and then they're like, all right, peace, and you're like, oh, okay. Feel like I was assaulted.
I remember watching Daniel Greene review a book and he said he hated the MC for being an incel. Definitely a date-arpist.
Very true. Thank you for the €5.
I can't call it that. People are fucked up.
Here's the thing as well. Actually, I might say it.
Anyway, what are your thoughts on this matter? So that's the conversation I want to have. I think that manipulation and long-term, even short-term lying to get what you want needs to be a part of the conversation when it comes to consent.
Yeah, she did. See, that's the problem, right? Lying to get what you want, even when it comes to short-term consent, needs to be part of the conversation. And this is made in relation to these allegations that she's making. That's the problem. Or that's what gives me pause at the very least. Well, explicitly, I think that she's using a very, very different meaning when she says sexual assault than what everybody else interpreter is saying.
The first video was a different claim. First video just agreed to it. Second describes the straight rate. It's incongruent. I'm going to reply to this, but I'm going to stop replying to you because you're fucking retarded and you need to get in Discord if you want to be treated like a normal person.
She didn't describe it as rape in the first video.
So that's not...
Let me hear that. I don't know if I agree with that chatter.
Second describes the straight rate. It's incongruent. I'm going to reply to this, but I'm going to stop replying to you because you're fucking retarded and you need to get in Discord if you want to be
sexual
treated like a normal person. Okay? So that's not what happened. That is not what happened here. In the first video, she says, you didn't fight back. She says, you didn't fight back. Oh, did you really consider because you didn't fight back? And in the second video...
Well, fight back implies something very, very different, right? She didn't fight back. But it sounds like, on the second time, it wasn't an issue until his wife contacted her and sent her a message. Like, she stayed on the trip. She didn't leave. They were still going out and having... like drinks together, even after they had another kind of like sexual encounter or whatever on the second day. The only thing she said no to was full sex because of I believe a medical issue she has where she, you know, can't kind of self-lubricate. And so they didn't have sex.
She says he kissed her mid-sentence.
Is that true?
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
Master Mark tipped $4.99 through Super Chat. Kuihman getting double teamed by his fellow Brits. Evil stuff. First his father Chud, now his estranged brother Dickers.
No, I'm not trying to fuck with Kuihman, all right?
Hi, guys.
We might have a genuine difference of opinion here, and maybe difference of a take. I mean, we literally both just done like a live react on the same day, essentially. Tongue. I remember I was using the word tongue. Oh, yeah. No, he did say halfway through a sentence.
I repeatedly asked him if we could just sleep and talk in the morning. I was halfway through a sentence.
I repeatedly asked him if we could just sleep and talk in the morning. But she's the one who asked him to stay up. In fact, she asked him to stay up and then asked her to bring her a coffee from the airport.
She probably didn't push him off.
Hold on. Because Kuihman is saying that he kissed her mid-sentence. But this is the thing. Even Kuihman, to a certain degree, seems to be discounting or challenging what she's saying. Now, it seems like... No, that's totally wrong. No, I got that wrong. Okay. So, he seems to be somewhat discounting what she's saying as well. Because she says, he stuck his tongue down my throat mid-sentence. Which seems to imply that she's halfway through saying something. And then, like... Ah, right? But even he says that he kisses her mid-sentence, and then they continue to kiss consensually, which is an inference on what she said, and you kind of have to ignore the putting his tongue down my throat comments.
She probably let it continue, allowed with non-verbal consent this to continue, sort of being like, not really being 100% if she wanted to reject them or not. Let it continue, and he kept pressuring for more and more and more and more, until he jerks off on her.
Pressuring for more and more and more and more. It's difficult. I don't know if she says that he's pressuring her for more and more and more. When he shoved me over and shoved his tongue in my mouth, and he repeatedly tried to stick his penis in me, saying, come on, just the tip, just the tip. Repeatedly pushed his penis away. No, that's fair. That's fair, actually. Okay, I need to add that to the notes.
That's when he pushed me over.
Wrong one.
That's the story. It's not incongruent. She kept it vague. She spoke about concepts surrounding it, about deception, how that works in with consent, how that can play into an assault. It makes it, if you approach it with any level of good faith, not just spazzing out because you're some fucking freak dude that just wants to fucking rape women in like total destiny mindset of rape. I hope he gets raped with a fucking shovel, sort of fucking mindset.
That's me. He's talking about me.
Of just like any time a woman speaks out about any.
This is what I was thinking, Codex, because she talks about it like it's one swift motion, right? but they're in bed together. They've booked a hotel room together, right? But then suddenly he pushed me over and shoved his tongue down my throat. Well, it seems like he's kind of rolling over so they're kind of embracing each other, I guess. Or in that kind of thing. I mean, not that they're embracing each other, but in that kind of body position. You get what I mean? He tries to stick his penis in me, saying, come on, come on, come on, just the tip. Repeatedly pushes his penis away, saying, I'm not having sex without lube. That's uncomfortable, for sure. That's uncomfortable, for sure. But that's the point. Why is she suddenly in the position where that would happen? Like, she's clearly naked. And then how do they get to a position where he's just like, what? Just like standing on top of her and like jacking off? It seems odd.
Anything, you're just like in a total fucking blind.
It was supposed to be friends only. Here's my read of it, right? Here's my read of it. I said, he's cheating on his wife. Seems like he's not managing this very well at all. I said this yesterday. He's not managing this very well at all. He seems to be in and out, and so they have got almost no communication. Communication is awful, right? Partially because they're cheating, but then it seems like other stuff. But this isn't the first time there's been a discussion about them having sex. This is not the first time they've had, at the very least, something about having sex. So when they're going on a holiday together, supposed to be friends only, but they're staying in the same hotel room. It sounds like they're staying in the same bed. Yeah, friends with benefits. That was kind of what I'd seen. Because if there was no kind of sexual element, or even question about where they stood sexually in that relationship, why would you have to specify that, you know, just a friend's holiday? That would just be assumed. This is the problem. This is the problem I'm talking about. Also, being his therapist for years, and then his wife is talking about, I don't know, you're both despicable people. I don't know how you could do this for somebody for years. It sounds like there was an emotional affair initially, and this is maybe the first time that it went wrong. I'll explain my full thoughts on it in a sec.
Blind rage. Anytime you see a woman emotional about anything, you enter a blind rage, and you want her to shut up because you're so terrified of the idea that one of the women you pressured into sex when you were like 16 is going to come out against you in a few years. Take a break. Take a break.
Okay, Kuihman sounds like he's getting one guide a little bit.
Approach it with some level of good faith and just say, hey, what could she be saying here?
You got dicked.
What could
Okay,
she be
bro,
saying?
you're getting too big for your boots.
Hey, thank you for the 5 Canadian Godspeed.
Godspeed tipped $5 through Super Chat. Just friends, I wanna be nice. Unless, smirking face.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I say. Communication's awful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it all makes total sense. It all fits in.
Wait, what?
She's keeping it vague in the first thing. She talks about associated concepts and says, oh yeah, we don't think about how deception can play into rape. And she says she didn't fight back. And then in the clarification video, in the second video, she says that he lied to her about the nature of the trip, which we can see, which is evidenced.
Mm-hmm.
He gets her alone. He makes a move on her mid-sentence when she's in sort of a weakened state and she doesn't really know what to do. And then keeps pressuring and pressuring and pressuring and doesn't care about her safety.
She claims that she's on drugs, right? I think there's a text message where she says she took an edible in the morning. She's claiming that she's taken an edible every 2 hours. But if I look back at the texts, I'm remembering this. She took a nap before he got there and then asked him to bring coffee. I'll try and find this. Hold on.
During her before jacking off on her. And then does a similar thing the next day. Then she tells the partner.
Does she tell the
They
partner?
didn't agree to meet again.
Does she tell the partner? Oh, yes, she does. She tells him about... Well, she tells the partner that he's cheating. And so far as I can see, there's no mention of assault.
They were on a trip.
Yeah,
They
the
were both in
river's weird.
Vegas. They wasn't agreeing to meet again. They were on a trip. They were staying together. Because he said, I want to take you on a friend trip.
But it's not like she didn't want to see him again. He blocked her after you know, his wife found out, right? So he blocked her. And there doesn't seem to be any indication. She seems upset by the fact that he blocked her. So it seems like she would have been open to seeing him again. Okay, let me try and find this message where she's talking about going to sleep. Just dab on us. Or did the rapist dab on her? Is that an additional charge? Can you get an additional charge?
Because some people consent to things and then find out that it was not at all what they thought
No! Okay,
it was.
I remember this.
Does that make
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Hold on.
and then find out that it was not at all what they thought it was.
Oh, no, that does make sense. But, okay. So if she's talking about sexual assault, then no. No. That doesn't make sense. You can't find out more information about something, and then it becomes sexual assault.
Does that make
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
sense? So
people saying she could have gone like this. I'm pretty sure that's got to be a joke comment, but it's oh, I could just rape women infinitely as long as they don't leave, as long as the woman's still there.
Okay. I think I'm getting the temperature of what Kuihman's reaction is gonna be. Seeing as we have a disagreement from how he's getting one guide by chat. Okay.
Just keep raping. It's like you're fucking insane. You're fucking insane. Please, I beg you to carry out these morals in real life. I would love to see it. I would love to see where your life ends up.
someone consenting to sleep with someone because they're dating and it's going somewhere and they feel safe and that's what it's going to be, that's what they consented to. If that person then has sex with them and is like, if that person then has sex with them and is like, all right, cool, that's all I wanted, you're an idiot for believing my lies, they didn't consent to that. And I'm not saying that's what happened to me, but like, just an example, there's a lot of people who...
I know what's coming.
She says that, I'm not saying that's what happened to me, but that's just an example. She literally...
No! I know! I know! But this is the flavour of things she's talking about.
Says there, you're so fucking stupid, Daedalus. You're so fucking dumb. You've been hung up on this point almost the whole segment because she is explaining how deception plays into consent and into sexual relationships. So she's giving an example of essentially rape by deception. You fucking retard. She's just talking about the general ideas, talking about her feelings vaguely on a situation she's recently been in and how it's making her think about consent. You fuck.
Okay, so there's 20 minutes left of this. I don't know how much of my coverage is watched.
Fucking idiot.
Okay.
You're an idiot for believing my lies.
I don't think he's going to like this joke coming up.
They didn't consent to that, and I'm not saying that's...
Okay, but this is the thing, right? So she's saying that you can lie about the nature of your relationship and you consent to the initial act, but then they don't want a relationship anymore, and then that's no longer consent. You no longer consented to that. The scope of consent is becoming too big, and this is not what we mean by consent. In the way that we use these words when we're talking about sexual assault and rape, this is not how we use the word consent.
That's what happened to me, but like, just an example, there's a lot of people who have been through this. So for anyone that has experienced this, what do you think? Obviously, there's more extreme cases.
Deception can play into consent. So, for example, I went through this in there, right? Deception can absolutely play into consent, right? If you think you're consenting to protected sex with a condom, right? No, you didn't. Yes, you did. You consented to have sex. You consented to have sex. You can't consent to sex on a contingency, and then if that contingency is violated 2 months later, then it's rape, and you didn't consent. No, this is not what consent means in this instance. Stealthing is a form of deception. That's what I'm going for. And I explained this earlier in the review as I'm going through it. If you're consenting to protected sex, safe sex, and then you realize at the end that they've taken the condom off, that's deception, right? Even if it's not explicit, even if they don't say, we're going to have safe sex, and then later on you find out they've taken the condom off, right? Even if there's no conversation about it, it's the heat of the moment, it's a one-night stand, they put a condom on, nobody talks about it. You find out later on, the condom's off. That is. Now, would that fall into rape or sexual assault? I'm not sure. You know, for some it's like, yeah, that happened, but it wasn't so bad. And for some it's like, yeah, no,
I don't even care about the rape. I don't care about the rape.
And this is the guy who's criticizing me. Hold on.
And for some it's like, yeah, no,
I don't even care about the rape. I don't care about the rape.
Holy shit. Babka, if you want to disagree, hop in the waiting room, because that might be a good way to hash it out. Because I think you're using it in a totally different way. All consent is on the contingency of honesty. Not true. That's not true. It's not true in a global sense, okay? In terms of in all senses. If you have sex with somebody, one night stand, they don't. Nothing is stealth, right? Nobody's drinking. Nothing, okay? We're just excluding this on its own. No other factors. But then they have a hookup and they lie about their name. They say their name is George. It's actually Frank, right? It has to be particular to the, I guess, details of that's what I mean. So if they if it's a lie by omission and they don't disclose perhaps that they have like an STI, or if they effectively deceive and then like stealth a woman, yeah, that's some kind of sexual assault, right? But it's not honesty in what aspect. That's the problem. That's the problem. So if you have sex with somebody and you're saying, oh, this is going towards a relationship, and then you don't end up in a relationship, right? If a twin brother, hello Kuihman, if a twin brother lies about his identity to fuck his brother's wife, is that right? Yes. I don't know if that's a meme question, but yes. Because you're consenting to have sex with one person that you already have a pre-established relationship with. That's a fucking... It's a meme question. Okay.
I don't care. I care about the fact there's a bunch of fucking retards in my chat who hate women so much that they are just denying evidence. They're denying evidence. They are making things up about this story to try and just hate women more. It's fucking annoying. I hate women. I hate women for things that women actually do and ways in which they are genuinely annoying. Okay, much like men. But I don't want that muddied by a bunch of people who just get mad.
But they consented to sex. Yeah, I'm not saying that... Okay. I'm not saying that honesty is meaningless, right? I'm not saying honesty is meaningless. But you have... Like, each person is unique, right? Despite the difference in appearance, right? People aren't fungible. They aren't exchangeable. You have relationships with individual people, right? That's the thing.
When a woman says she got raped, just because she says she got raped, and you don't want women telling people about when they get raped because you want to be able to rape women. That's annoying. That's fucking annoying to me.
Completely manipulated and lied to and assaulted, and it's been following me. And
I think, if I'm catching your drift, so I think Kuihman is saying, there's a person that exists in your mind, right? And it's like, potential boyfriend, right? And this is the idea of the person in your mind. And in reality, you've got a fuckboy. Mental... Mental image, and then, reality. Right? So essentially, this is the difference. And if there's been an explicit lie, then there's deception there. Yeah. But that's sexual manipulation. I don't think assault is relevant for that. You can have consented to things, you can have consented to actions with a particular person, right? Because you thought you're in one type of relationship, but you have been misled intentionally about the type of relationship you're in. That doesn't make it assault. You have been sexually manipulated, right? But your consent to that particular act isn't in question, right? Yeah, anyway.
And I can't describe...
Okay. So she talks about a lot of specifics there. It's clear she's talking about a specific situation. She's not talking about an abstract. Additional charges for emoting over a rape victim. Imagine, you promise a girl, it's like, babe, listen, I'm finally ready to commit, okay?
Jakub getting a easy hour-long timeout for that. Okay, 30 minutes for that retarded fucking message. What evidence? Her word, and the guy being cringe in Discord. No, the message is where he admits to wrongdoing, says she doesn't deserve it, and he's hearing voices in his head. Those messages.
Waiting.
The message is where she's exchanging.
How's it going, mate? You're right.
Yeah, it's good. How much of the coverage have you actually watched, or have you just started where I pulled your stream up?
I've only started so far where you've pulled my stream up.
Okay. So, in the story that this woman's talking about, you know that while in the first video, she talks about rape by deception, in the second video, she actually says that when she was talking about rape by deception, that was an example she was giving about how deception can play into consent. That wasn't necessarily what happened in her situation.
Yeah.
Right. In her situation, what happens is the guy lies to her about the nature of the trip, gets her alone, and then basically makes a move on her, apparently while she's in a, not sober state.
Yeah.
Makes a move on her, and then keeps trying to escalate. She's trying to de-escalate repeatedly, and he just keeps escalating, and when she jerks off on her.
I
think if we take that story to be true, that would be rape. You agree, right? Or sexual assault.
That'd be coercion. Coercive. Coercive. Yeah.
How would that be? You think that would be coercion? It would be sexual assault. You're saying?
Yeah. Because it's kind of pestery.
Okay.
You've got
Because
somebody.
it's sort of like it's like physical coercion. You're like you're on top of someone, or like close to someone. Yeah. Okay. So that would be okay. So you're on board. That would be sexual assault. Okay. So where are you falling on the rape by deception thing? That's where I've come in. Is you're talking about rape by deception.
So my thing, well, to be fair, in this section of it, I'm talking about in general, because she's talking about general things, and I'm trying to understand her mindset as she's going through it. So when she calls it sexual assault, her definition that she's laying out in this video is different than, I guess, the definition that I might use, or might be ordinarily used, right?
The definition. What definition are you using for assault?
Oh, for sexual assault, it'd be with, like, tacit, small, discreet to that one instance of sex. Did you consent or did you not to that instance of sex, right? The relationship dynamics, that might come into sexual manipulation, but that wouldn't come into...
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you get...
Thank you for the 5 mirror, I'm just going to pause alerts. That would come into sexual manipulation, right, in the relationship. But in terms of, to that particular act, that wouldn't, it doesn't really come into it. Right?
Okay, so if I hold a gun to someone's head and tell them to have sex with me, is that sexual assault?
Well, that'd be right, but yeah.
But that you would sexual assault, you would allow for that term, for that instance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you allow sexual assault for someone saying, a boss saying to a worker, "You'll get fired if you don't have sex with me"?
Yeah.
Would that be sexual assault?
Yeah. There's an explicit kind of threat.
Okay, so at what point does a non-physical manipulation become assault?
I think it's probably going to be the directness. It's going to be an explicit threat, right? Because let's say you're, you're going on a few dates with a girl. She thinks it's heading some way. You maybe don't explicitly say to her that it's not, right? You go, you have sex, maybe the 4th date, you hook up, and then for whatever reason, maybe genuinely, or maybe you just wanted to have sex, the relationship ends there, right? It ends on the 4th date. I wouldn't say that's right, but I'd say that's manipulative behavior. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sure. But would you say that, like, so the twin brother example, where a twin brother fucks the brother's wife,
yeah,
and lies about his identity to do it, would you say that's sexual assault?
Would that be sexual assault? Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's an explicit lie about the nature of the sex, right? It's like how stealthing would be maybe a form of rape. Yeah, go on.
So, how about if they were trans? If a trans person doesn't disclose that they're trans before sex?
Oh, is this a meme question or is this legit?
No, this is legit. We're getting somewhere.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to work my way down.
Trans person. It could be. Yeah. In terms of the apprehension and the reasonableness that somebody would in the moment not feel able to consent when that's kind of like revealed. It could be, but it depends. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say there's like some hyper-Christian, like Catholic girl, and you say to her that you're like fully in on like committed relationship, everything, totally in. You like date for months, and then finally she's ready to have sex. And you have sex, and you drop her the next day. Would that be rape by deception? Would that be sexual assault?
That pushes right to the edge of the line for me.
Because that's like what you're basically saying is that like the trans thing, people's apprehension about fucking a trans person, you value more than like a lifelong ingrained Christian mindset for which they'll probably have like crazy trauma for violating or doing wrong. That apprehension is stronger with the trans thing. The consent there is more worth consideration than in the Christian example.
I would say so, but I'd say it's because of an explicit sexual boundary that's been made. I'm trying to feel why I think that's different. I think it's because of the explicitness of the sexual boundary.
Is there an explicit where's the explicit sexual boundary when a trans person doesn't disclose that they're trans?
Well, there isn't there. The thing that, because this in my mind, why I'm saying that is disanalogous. So I'm saying that it's predictable that there might be a reveal, and at that point, you've got into the bedroom, your clothes are already off. At that point, somebody might not be able to say no. Might not feel able to say no. And so in that instance, it may well be, right?
If you completely obscure something from the other party, like completely obscure, lie about something from the other party, just to get them in that situation, just to fuck them, and then you actually completely violate everything you said, it was actually completely untrue, by intention to, obviously, people change their minds. There can be, like, fuckboys that are kind of, like, indecisive or whatever, and women even are indecisive sometimes, and will, like, go between guys and shit. So, it's not like every time you're indecisive or you change your mind after sex, it's rape by deception. But I think if there's a deliberate, concerted effort to conceal something that the other party would not, or like to lie about something that the other party would not be okay with having sex with you if they knew about it, I think, that is sort of like a rape by deception. It's like different if you don't know, if it's like something, let's say there's lots of girls might not fuck you if, I don't know, man, you can't drive or something, right? They might not want to fuck if you can't drive. But you're going to go up to every girl you meet and say, oh, just letting you know, I can't drive, so before we have sex, I can't drive. Just letting you know, of course you're not going to fucking do that.
Right.
But and we wouldn't expect anyone to, and that's not like a consent violation that's going to cause any, like, fucking trauma for anyone. But when there's something like a hard religious mindset or a assumed sexuality thing with, like, the trans stuff, I think these things are, if you violate this, having like a pretty good expectation this person's going to be fucked up if they knew you violated them in this way. Yeah, it's a problem. It's the same for, like, the Destiny stuff, recording someone without consent. I think you can make a pretty good argument there. That's like a form of rape by deception, because there's no way for that person to consent to what's being done.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I bring up the kind of explicit sexual boundary there. If the sexual boundary is explicit enough that you would know that you have to essentially lie or deceive, or kind of not explicitly lie, but maybe give the impression that, your intentions might be somehow different, or what they might... The quality is that if they were true, the person wouldn't consent to sex. You can kind of not really talk about it and maybe imply that, no, that's not the case, and, and then that gets sex. Yeah, that would be a boundary violation. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what she's mostly saying in that video. I don't think it's really that crazy. I think people should have a bad reaction to it, because it was a woman talking about how you can be raped in ways that aren't violent.
Hold on. Because I've got a quote from her that I thought was notable. If you regret it later, it's not a crime, but the law doesn't account for how good predators are at lying. A lot of men date and mislead girls about their intentions to get in bed. Now, when I read that, did you read that as a... Because when she's saying a lot of men do da-da-da-da-da, I read that as fuckboy behaviour she's talking about there. Not necessarily an explicit lie, but they might go on a few dates, and maybe it seems like warm, and maybe it seems like happy and stuff like that. He wants a hookup, he wants a casual thing, she's expecting a serious relationship. They get in sex. They get in bed.
No,
they
I
have
think
sex.
there are lies happening. I think she's talking about lies. There are explicit lies that are happening there. I think where they're probably, she's talking about guys like say, "Oh yeah, I'm super. Yeah, I want to like settle down," or like shit like that. I think there is more of a. She's hinting at more of a like explicit lie. That seems to be what she's saying there. Like if you're making explicit promises that you don't intend to fulfill on, that is kind of predatory.
Yeah, I agree.
I can see why she would refer to that as predatory.
But I don't think she's talking about anything explicit here, because she's given the impression that she says mislead. I mean, if she meant lie, I would assume she meant to say lie. But mislead, that's usually subtext.
Well, I mean, it seems like that's what she's been talking about in like the whole context of the thing. What she's talking about being like assault is like people lying, right? So the actual example the closest thing to a deception in her story that she ends up posting is this green guy lying about it being just a friend's trip or whatever to get her alone, basically.
Yeah.
And I think
is that how you read?
So
that?
I think that.
Go on, sorry.
That's what the deception seemed to be. Was that if there was a deception in the situation with this green guy, it was that he lied about his intentions in the sense that he was saying that we were just friends, that she was like his fucking therapist for 3 years or whatever. They were just going on a friend's trip. That was the lie to get her alone, and then he made a move on her.
I see how you can read it like that. The thing that colours that for me.
So just with all the context, I just think that is the sort of thing she's talking about, where someone explicitly lies about what they want from a relationship.
I could see that. But the thing that colours that for me is when she's saying that I was basically this man's therapist for 3 years, The wife seems to say that this affair's been going on for years. It seems like an emotional affair. Is that your read as well?
An emotional affair? What, as in like,
That he confessed to, that the wife was annoyed about the situation that was going on. A kind of emotional
he confessed to
relationship.
that when?
Pardon me?
Well, he confessed to his wife when?
In April, when the trip ended. When the wife said you're both disgusting people.
Yeah, but wasn't that after she had already messaged the wife?
Yeah. To say that they'd had sex. What I'm saying was,
Yeah.
the emotional affair had been going on for years before they actually went to Vegas. Do you not get that read?
I mean, it probably could be an emotional affair. I don't know if it was like I don't know if there's a sense it's an explicit emotional affair where, yeah, they necessarily.
Like saying I love you and stuff like that, and talking about running away together.
Yeah.
But she's
Oh,
saying
yeah, I don't know
that...
if it's gone that far, but I think it certainly sounds like the sort of relationship that it's at least the sort of relationship that his wife isn't happy about knowing has happened, even regardless of whether they slept together or not. She's not okay with the closeness of it, one way or another. So sure, emotional affair, sure.
And I think the way she's talking about the conversations they'd had before, apparently I don't think this is the first time that they've talked about having sex. She's apparently had to talk him down from cheating several times. There's other explicit things that I've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, that one, I agree with you. I also thought, that sounds like probably he made a move on her, but I mean, it could also be about, other relationships that he's got.
And her objection,
he's talking to her about.
And her objection to that wasn't, listen, this is not the kind of relationship we have. This is not okay with me. The objection was, you have a girlfriend, that would be cheating. Right.
Where are you drawing that from?
When he talks about cheating, and then she sends that 8-page manifesto to him, it's about how wrong it is to cheat, and how wrong it would be to cheat. But it doesn't seem like there's anything where she says, "Listen, no,
Have we got the 8-page manifesto?
We don't, but in the bits that she shows.
What does she show from it?
Hold on, I'm trying to skim through her second video for the screenshots now. I don't know why at this point, if she's quoting from this is a side point while I'm looking for the screenshot, I don't understand exactly why she hasn't shown that manifesto. Or the 8-page thing. Because I felt that would give a lot more context to what she's talking about.
He's threatening an invasion of privacy lawsuit or whatever, right? That's one of the things, so I imagine that's the sense I got from why shit was just redacted.
That's fair.
Because it seemed to only show the few bits that were supporting specific claims.
Did you open up the cease and desist?
No, I watched through the video. I read through it in the screen recording thing.
Oh, fair.
I didn't open up the document.
If you read through that, the evidence that they cite for why this is not just untrue but defamatory is the 8-page manifesto. Apparently, there's stuff in there that shows that it wasn't true. Fuck, I can't find this.
They cite the 8-page. I didn't see that, but I saw they said they have clear evidence of consent. But I mean, if that's the case, if they've got a message saying I consent or whatever, I can't wait to hook up on this trip or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wouldn't show that in his video today. I feel like you just show that one message, you would probably get that cleared by a lawyer if it was bolted on, and you just show that. You wouldn't make a response where you just say, "No, I didn't do it," when the other side has a bunch of evidence coming out. I feel like that's super weird.
I agree with that, and I'm a little disconcerted by how short his message was, and apparently he's going to have something coming in the coming days to tell his truth. I likewise kind of expected, if he is going to publish anything, it's probably just going to be, evidence or further screenshots. On April 11th, 2023, this is this before or is this after? Oh, this is before they go on the trip. Oh no. April 11th. So this is just after they go on the trip. I just wanted to say thank you.
April 20th.
That's right. Yeah, so it's just before. So she sent the 8-page manifesto, and he says, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. That literal wake-up call again. It meant a lot and motivated me to restart therapy. And in this context, he's talking about cheating. And I think if I have a look through the transcript to try and find... Talk him out. I'll set that word. Talk him out. Okay.
Okay, but this just makes me feel even more so like this guy's like a giga rapist, because it's like she sends you this 8-page manifesto saying how you shouldn't cheat on your wife, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, so true. I'm gonna get therapy. Anyway, how about that trip next week? I just want to take you on a friend trip and spoil you." And then he gets her alone in the room, and then what? Well, after they've had this whole conversation about how this isn't gonna happen, and then he says it's a friend trip, and then what? Just gets this guy alone. I guess this woman alone. Like,
The read that
why
I
is
have
there
on
so
that,
much obvious deception leading up to this?
the read that I have on that is that this is a little bit of guesswork and assumptions, I guess. Well, no, I'll say inference, but it seems like their conversations had bordered on sexual topics before. He seems to have already known that she has this vaginal issue. He's he's talking about cheating. Apparently, she's had to talk him down. There seems to be somewhat of a sexual element to their relationship already, to a minor degree. Absolutely. But then, why would you have to specify that it's a friend thing if there was never any kind of sexual thing between you two? And there never seems to be a text message where she calls him out for being creepy or weird or.
Well, he's made like some kind of. He's made some kind of sexual advance or something, or the idea of cheating has come up or something like that.
Yeah.
But she's obviously clearly laid out that's not the case. And then he is saying his intention is friend trip, which, I mean, we can say that's obvious bullshit, but it's like, why is he deceiving her leading up to this trip, if not to basically just continually get her into a position, basically corner her, like work it down, be like, oh no, I'm not going to fuck you on this trip. We're just going on a trip together. And he gets her on the trip.
Yeah.
And that, you see how it just seems like
I do.
very fucking sketchy.
But I think this is the kind of the read I have on their relationship. I said this during my coverage. Is kind of like, the two people who at work, he's got a wife, she's got a husband, but they'll kind of make comments together. But every now and again, it never goes explicit. But there's kind of like flirting back and forth, and then one time, it makes the mistake, right? Or maybe they get close to it, and it's like, no, we shouldn't do this. We've still got partners. Do you know what I mean? But he kind of starts to touch on that. I think when he said that, the friend trip thing, I think he explicitly wanted it to stay completely friends. But the difficulty I have as well is they're going on this...
Okay, no, I just don't believe that, because then afterwards, when she's upset, he's saying, oh, the way the voices in my head tell me I am. Like, this guy's a fucking turbo manipulator. This guy's like just playing pity cards and fucking lying out his ass. If he's saying that there's voices in his head telling him how he is, and he's becoming like that, it's like, dude, you are. It's like the biggest pity play in the world. And when he's deceptive up to the trip, and then playing emotional manipulation games after, I've got no faith in this guy's like fucking boundaries when he's actually on the trip.
Because that's the Giga redacted message, right? Where we see about three little phrases. Is that?
Yeah, wait, there's like three sentences of it, yeah. Or like 3.5 sentences.
Do you remember off the top of your head when that message was sent? Because I thought that it was before
That was after the trip, I thought, right? I thought it was after.
I'm going to double check. I found it. Here we are. Oh, no, you're right. That was after the trip. Okay. Let me share.
Yeah, because that's what she says that he's admitting. Basically, that's her message of him admitting fault for something happening on the trip. That's what that's used to support.
She deserves to know, my God, you didn't deserve this. I fucked up. I started acting like the voices in my head tell me I am.
Yeah, like, you didn't deserve. She deserves to know you didn't deserve this. Unless the rest of this message is, I'm going to say the things that would most likely implicate me in rape on this trip we just went on. But I'm just pretending, haha, it's a joke. But I don't know what else. This just seems like he's admitting to doing something seriously fucked up on this trip.
I think it's probably because she seemed incredibly upset at the message that the wife sent back. The wife's calling her a despicable human. I think it's in relation to that. In relation to the social fallout there.
When did she send the message to his wife?
That was after the trip. Because it's just a text notification that she screenshotted in her notification center. This is it, I think.
Is there no date on it?
May 7th. No. Wait, when
So
did
that's
she tell the
after-
wife? That is. I've got notes here for the different dates. Why do I have this? So they get back.
Yeah, May
I
7th.
think he tells her when she gets back. I'm guessing there's communications between them. Yes, 28th. Okay, so on April 4th, they have a video call for an hour. She talks through after sending him the 8 pages. 20th, they go to Vegas. I think they went for what sounds like a couple days. And then 20. Did they go for a couple days or did they go for a week? Because I can't find a definite date.
It seemed, I thought it was a couple of days. That was
Okay.
the read I got. I don't know what evidence is based on though. That's just what I remember thinking.
Because he's sending her this text message, the super redacted one, on the 28th. Now, apparently, this all kicks off after the vacation ends and they go back home. So maybe it is.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I didn't assume that. I didn't assume. I don't know if we've got a message, the first message that she sent to the wife, but I didn't assume that she did it like. When did she say she messaged the wife? Because I'm pretty sure it was only one night that she's with this guy, right? They stayed together in the hotel that night, and then she goes and gets this tattoo or whatever the next day, and he like does it again, and then.
I reach out to his wife because I felt like shit, and I know what it's like to be cheated on, and it fucking sucks. She replied to me for the truth. She asked me for the truth. I was at the airport when I received that message. Does she include a screenshot of it?
Sucks. And because I felt like shit, and I know what it's like to be cheated on.
But this is the thing that makes me question it. At this point, she feels like shit, not because of an assault, but her main concern here is that she regrets it because she feels sympathy for being cheated on. A side point, to be fair.
Well, no, shit. Well, okay. She says, I feel like shit, and I know what it feels like to be cheated on. She doesn't say, I feel like shit because I know what it feels like to be cheated on. That's all I'm thinking about. She says, and I know. So I feel like shit right now, and I empathize with this person, so I'm reaching out to them.
And I know. So you think that at this point she does regret what's happened. She feels like it's kind of violative, and she regrets that. Okay.
Yeah, I think the sense I get is that she was sort of like done with this guy the moment that trip ends. It's not like the trip's ended, and then he's gone back to the wife and said, "No, sorry, that was just a one-time thing. We're this isn't happening. We're not staying together. Whatever." That doesn't seem to be, from what I can see anyway, unless he's got like some crazy evidence he's going to pull out where that does actually happen. But it seems more like she's immediately kind of done with this guy, and then a week later or whatever, or maybe some way between when it happens and the week after, she's basically like, I'm going to reach out to the wife because I feel like shit about this, and she should know.
Okay. So the timeline's getting muddled for me then, because she says that she's in the airport. I thought she meant flying back home after the trip, and she gets on the plane.
I don't know.
Afterwards...
She might just be in an airport, or I don't know.
Fair play.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Or to be fair, it could have been that she met up with this guy, stayed the one night, and then decided to stay longer in Vegas or something. Or I don't know. But it doesn't seem like it. Certainly seems like it was only 2 nights with this guy. Or 2 days with this guy, 1 night, from what I can tell.
So you don't think in the moment it was a kind of you don't think it was a kind of struggle and he kind of like forced himself on her in that explicit, but he certainly wasn't open and mindful about consent and her feelings.
I think
go on.
I don't know, it's bordering on forcing. If any part of what she's saying is, not any part, but if like even the characterization of the sexual encounter is true, this guy sounds like a borderline rapist, like just straight up. Because I mean, if you're trying to put your dick in a girl and she keeps pushing it away, and then you're jerking off on her, what the fuck are you doing? You're fucking insane. This is like crazy behavior.
That's true.
So if that part's true, that sounds like turbo like rapist behavior.
But that can be true, and she can be talking about what he's doing and giving those details. But there can absolutely be details here about what the full situation, essentially how she's reciprocating, what's kind of going on there. They could absolutely.
So there could be more
like
the emotional affair, but I mean, if you're like, but if you're like at the point where you are just pushing past nose and jerking off on a woman, you are like basically a rapist.
But pushing past no's, she says no to sex, not because she doesn't want it, or because it'd be cheating that moment, but because they don't have lubrication, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then
But she's not saying like she's not saying no, don't do that, just jerk off on me, right? He's just like pestering, based on her characterization, he's like pestering
yeah.
and pestering and then jerking off.
I mean, based on her characterization, yeah. But in terms of the details she gives, it seems to be there's important details that are skirted around here. So, for example, why is she suddenly naked? That seems odd. They're sharing a hotel room.
I mean, yeah.
Sharing
There's
a bed,
obviously.
presumably.
I don't doubt that there's like an escalation and a pestering that's happening where the section encounter has escalated. Obviously, it's gone somewhere, and if there is an emotional affair, that makes sense. But if she's continually pushing away and he's used deception to get into that situation, this is like he's actually got no regard for like the setup for the situation, and then no regard when he's in the situation. So this is literally one step from rapist.
I could see it go. I could see it going that way.
Yeah.
The way that I could see it going is that they're lying in bed, they start kissing, they kind of like move. They move over, so they're kind of like almost in each other's arms. I guess something happens to the point where he thinks that it's appropriate to whip his dick out. She doesn't stop him. It seems to be escalating, and then she says, "No, I can't have sex without lubrication," and so he stops. After that, she says about pushing his dick away. Several times. Now, if that's true...
Several times. And apparently he's saying just the tip as well.
Yeah. Now, that can be shitty.
Do you think if this guy got just the tip in, it would just be the tip? Or do you think this guy is going to plow through and fuck her shit up and give her crazy medical issues?
Thing is, this could be like... I can see it both ways, right? He can basically be talking about like, well, we don't have to have full sex. It can just be the tip, which is a very ignorant and horny-brained and ill-considered thing to say, especially because it comes across as so
it's not even
pestering.
like, it's just like not even true. It's like an obvious lie. Like it's just a lie to get your foot in the door. It is literally getting your foot in the door, and that is basically what's happening there. Like. You were just trying to break that initial boundary, trying to push past that initial boundary, so that you can take it to the next step. And it's just that the whole way throughout the entire encounter. It's, oh yeah, you're right. I should go back to therapy and not cheat on my wife. You're so right. Oh, I just want to take you on a friend's trip to spoil you. And then it's going to the hotel or making a move on her while she's already not sober, and he is. And he makes a move. And he keeps pressing forward, and she's like, no, I don't have this good idea, maybe we shouldn't do this. And he keeps pressing forward, and then she's like, no, we can't do this because I've got medical issues. And he's like, oh no, just tip. It's just like the endless pestering, just like constant trying to trample through boundaries at every step,
But
or like lie to get around them because she knows she wouldn't agree to something otherwise.
But this is what I'm saying, where there's no characterization about what she's doing, right? Because don't forget, she's the one who suggested staying up. He wanted to go to bed initially. In fact, she asks him to bring coffee so they can stay awake, and she goes for a nap before he arrives so that they can stay up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I could imagine it where he comes in late, they're talking, maybe it touches on like, a more intimate conversation. They start kissing, and then it leads into an awkward and unprepared sexual encounter. I mean, if he apparently knows that she's had this issue, and he's expecting to have sex with her, I don't know, for example, why he wouldn't have lube. You know what I mean? Because apparently he knows this already. It sounds heat of the moment, whereas...
Well, did she say he knew it well in advance? I mean, and even if he knows it, I mean, that doesn't... What, he would take... Okay, I don't necessarily believe that he would take lube.
But
I don't think that...
But if she's saying... Okay, so do you believe the...
Especially if this
3
guy's
years
like,
he's
having
kind of building
continual
up to this
issues
kind of
with
manipulation?
cheating, that he's building up to the manipulation. I think he's probably like stringing her along probably with other women in similar ways, and basically just the only reason they are there is to eventually fuck them.
Stringing her
if he
along.
gets the opportunity.
Do you think she
I don't
wanted
think
a
he's-
relationship?
I don't know. I don't think so, based on what I saw.
Oh wait, string what?
Or at least that wasn't the initial thing. There might have been a developer. Yeah, like I mean, like playing along with them, being like, oh yeah, we're cool, we're friends, and like maybe even, you know, he does try and approach sexual topics or inspire some hope of a romantic thing. But I think when I say string along, I just mean not fully disclosing what his intentions with the relationship are, but allowing it to continue anyway.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I don't believe and think is portrayed in this video that I disagree with is that he's intentionally doing kind of like a Machiavellian manipulation to get her in some kind of position over 3 years. I think it's like an emotional affair. They're kind of going in between extremes.
Yeah,
of like,
I don't think it's like a Machiavellian over 3 years. I think this stuff is much more impulsive, but it does take form over a long period of time.
But I think it's because they're dipping in and out of these kind of conversations. She's having to talk him down from cheating. I think it's with her. When she's saying talking down from cheating, I don't think she's talking about with other women, right? I think she's talking about with her. So if you're having to talk somebody down from cheating, he's kind of like asked, or they've breached sexual topics before. I think they've got a severe lack of communication that's kind of led to this, because he's cheating. She knows he would be cheating, and so they don't really explicitly touch on it, except for perhaps like when they get particularly horny or whatever, and then they start having those conversations. And then they have those conversations, and so there's not a very solid sexual kind of relationship there to have those kind of discussions around boundaries. And so this is extremely kind of in the heat at the moment.
This seems like one of those like hippie people that's probably like polyamorous or some shit. Like I just don't believe that most of the boundary stuff isn't like explicitly spoken about, especially if you're writing like 8-page manifestos to describe her issues with a fucking friend cheating or whatever. I think this my read is that these people, that it was probably all pretty explicit, and she was like, no, I don't want to have sex, especially not if you're in a relationship. I feel like that was, I mean, how many times you have to lay that out, and how many times you have to lay it out in advance, and then in the situation before it's like they're not taking no for an answer, it crosses the line.
But this is the thing that kind of,
because we've got even the manifesto is evidence of her saying that ultimately, whether it's because he's in a relationship or not, she doesn't want to have sex with him. That is the point of the manifesto. That is assuming that it's about him trying to cheat with her. That is the point of the previous conversations about talking him down from cheating. You know, I don't want to have sex with you. That's what she's saying. And then she says it apparently in the situation too. And then afterwards, he's acknowledging fault for something. It just seems like she said no every step of the way, and he just kept pushing. Regardless of what her motivation is for.
The thing that makes me doubt that is that apparently there's been these conversations where she's saying like she doesn't want to have sex with him because that'd be cheating, and she really doesn't want him to cheat, and she's writing these kind of 8-page manifestos about it. And then she's going on a holiday with him where they're in the same hotel room for 2 nights, and presumably it sounds like they're in the same bed.
Well, I think it's for one night. I don't know, like I don't know how long this trip is, because she's there in Vegas for 420. It sounded like, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the character. I don't know if we've got details on this trip to say that like he was, because what is the trip? Is the trip the whole trip to Vegas, or was he taking her on a specific trip, but she was in Vegas? Like what is the trip in regards to what those two are doing? The friend trip. I don't know, like they're together for the whole week.
But I mean.
But it doesn't sound like she's in an airport a week later.
No matter what the timeline is, the thing that doesn't quite make sense to me is
the nature of it. If I would understand,
basically sex pester into having sex with him. She's constantly saying, no, stop. I don't want this at all. No, you're in a relationship. What the fuck are you doing? And there's never any playback. Then why would you then want to be alone in a bedroom with that person on a holiday in a city that you're not kind of familiar with, right? I'm not saying that if it happened and she was manipulated, she deserves it. 100% not. I'm saying it seems like there's some playback from her side that we're not hearing about?
I mean, that could be the case. If there could be the case that there's like a message where she's like, actually, I really do want to fuck you on the strip. And in which case, I mean, yeah, she'll look really fucking stupid. But saving that like silver bullet evidence, it just seems like she repeatedly said it. And I don't think the like friend trip thing, I know it's like a lot of people think it's fucking retarded. I think it's fucking retarded. But like these hippie type people, like they always do this sort of shit. And like theater kids and shit like that always do the friend trip shit. Or like, you know, hugging his friends or whatever the fuck, you know. Or like Brittany Simon talks about platonically showering with your friends.
I've heard that clip as well. Oh my god.
Laying naked with your friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's loads of people that are like this, and that is just the way they do it. Is they say, "Yeah, we're friends. We're not having sex. That's our boundaries. But we can hug and we can go on trips and we can go sleep in the same bed." And it's fucking retarded, and you're like, not asking to get raped. Well, no, fuck, I'll say you're asking to get raped. You're basically walking around begging for it. You're walking through Rape Alley.
That
on
sounds
the daily
like
if you're
consent to
that
me.
shit.
I don't know.
It's like it's very dumb. You're asking to get raped. It's just you know you're walking down the bad path, but it doesn't make it okay when someone rapes someone doing that.
I think I disagree with that, and I think that you're pulling in too much assumptions about what type of person she is. That this is like a thing that she does, and she probably has these friendships all the time.
My read is that when the people are saying stuff like friend trip and seem to have like the manifesto thing, this is like an autistic, like therapy coded approach to relationships. Like no normal person is writing an 8-page manifesto for their relationship, especially not with just like some friend.
Yeah.
So this comes off like someone who is very invested in this shit. That they're like book people as well. They're probably reading like self-help shit. I totally everything points me towards the idea that this is like someone who is very explicit and does the whole I don't know what you'd even call it. Like you know, like the
I guess boundary
setting type consent,
explicit emotional
boundary setting
stuff,
type. Yeah, that shit. Yeah,
I don't get
therapy
that read
language
because
shit.
I feel like that person would know and be comfortable. If you're comfortable having that kind of conversation, where you have long drawn out explanations about what your boundaries are and what you're comfortable with, if there is an instance of kind of, you know, sexual behavior happening and you're not happy with it, that kind of person I would expect to be able to say no. Or when they have the conversation the next morning over breakfast, to say, I didn't want that. That was really uncomfortable for me. Da, 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 da. But apparently all they talked about the next day...
What you did, didn't... I thought, Oh, really? I thought she said that... What did she say about that? They had a conversation about how that couldn't happen again.
Okay, day number 2, went to breakfast, and over breakfast we discussed the fact... Actually, you're watching on the stream, so I'll just play it.
Day number 2. We went for breakfast, and over breakfast, we discussed the fact that it never should have happened, and that we were just friends, and that it was never going to happen again. We had that conversation over breakfast. After breakfast, on the way back, he stopped by an ATM.
Okay.
I mean, that's not explicitly about cheating. She's saying that's never going to happen again.
But
it's saying we're just friends. Yeah. That's never going to happen again. That's not what our relationship is.
But do you not think if she had then had, being somebody who's explicitly going to talk about her boundaries and such, at that point, she's going to suddenly say, this is something he should have never done. Not, this is something that shouldn't have happened. That I'm just a friend to him, or he's just a friend to me. That I'm just his friend. Not that we were just friends. And it's never going to happen again. I would expect this line here to be, discuss the fact that he should have never done this, and I'm just his friend, and that he was never going to do this again. You see where I'm coming from?
I just don't think that's... I get that you're saying she would phrase it as if it was something done to her.
Yeah.
But I don't see that's particularly... That doesn't tell me a lot. That's not very compelling as like a read on what the conversation was like or even how she was feeling about it, because it could totally be that she's like, we're just friends, it's never happening again, because and is phrasing it like that because she doesn't feel like it was necessarily done to her at that point. She was like, I mean, she even says in the first video, I didn't fight back. So like, I mean, there's lots of thoughts like that could color that conversation. So I don't necessarily take the like that reporting of this conversation, like what the nature of it was and how that reflects on her mindset. Like, we're so many degrees of separation away from anything material that
Okay.
I don't think it's worthwhile to pick apart
But
the wording.
do you think this morning after when they're having this conversation, and then the rest of it, do you think that she's not thinking at that time that anything wrong was done to her? She just thinks that it's something bad that happened.
I don't know what she's thinking at that point, because there's like, it could have been like, she could have been like turbo raped, but then have been like, oh well, I didn't say no, so I mean maybe it's not that bad, maybe this guy's fine, because she's friends with him. That could totally have happened, but then it could also be that she played it up later and didn't actually feel that bad about it at the time, or I don't know how she's feeling.
The thing that makes me...
After.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying I don't know how she would have been feeling the day after.
I guess laying my cards out on the table, I just, especially with the way that she characterizes things, I don't put a lot of stock into. I don't know if I really can, because of how she describes other things. I think you yourself in the coverage, she says that, mid-sentence, he stuck his tongue down my throat, but you seem to yourself think that it was consensual kissing that they were doing.
Well, no, I think I assume, our mission is true for the most part, right? As in, like, it lines up with the messages that we've seen. She's not like saying things that are directly contrary to the evidence, and that we can see the sex interaction going roughly the way it's gone. So I'm like mostly like, I'm hesitantly accepting of her characterization, and it seems like, he probably made the first move, right? And that's what she's saying there. Regardless of how abrupt you think it was, obviously we can't tell. We weren't there.
But I would say he stuck his tongue
there's
down
a lot
my
of different
throat.
things that just kissing someone. Yeah, but kissing someone. What she says basically is he kissed me mid-sentence. Is what she says, I think, right?
I think tongue. Because I think I looked at this just before you called in.
I repeatedly asked him if we could just sleep and talk in the morning. I was halfway through a sentence when he pushed me over and shoved his tongue in my mouth.
So I was halfway through a sentence when he pushed me over and shoved his tongue in my mouth. So this...
Well, I assume he made the first move. It sounds like, what she's saying there is that it's like he made the first move and it was abrupt.
Do
Right.
you think that this kiss was consensual, and you think she was probably kissing back?
I don't know what that means. Like, you make a move on someone, sometimes they might kiss back or like let it happen for a moment. Does that necessarily mean it was like consensual just because when you abruptly did it to them, they didn't immediately stop it? Or like, could there be...
That's not what I'm saying. So I don't know if you've ever seen like a club, or you've had like a friend who's like in a club, and like somebody's like completely drunk. Some guy's like going around, he's on a tear, right? Goes up to your friend, or goes up to a girl in the club or whatever, and just like almost attacks her face with his tongue, right? Maybe she gets back for a second, or maybe she hesitates because like, what the fuck is going on? But literally, there is no kissing. His tongue is out, and then it's in her mouth. That kind of thing. That's what I imagine when somebody says he shoved his tongue in my mouth. It's like there's no build up to the kiss. It's not an abrupt kiss. It's not like, it's you are shoving your tongue in someone's mouth. My stream. Oh, reconnection stream. Reconnection successful. I've just got to check the YouTube page to make sure it's not completely gigafucked. Has the stream ended? I don't think it has. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, man. I'm back. Okay, cool. Fuck. How aggressive, at least you thought that this was. Okay, let's see how that goes now. That's looking stable.
You back?
I think so, but it might fuck up again. Fuck. Are you streaming right now?
Nope.
Okay. Let's double check. I think the cloud might have passed over now. We might be okay. Yeah, I think it's looking stable again. Okay, nice. Give it a few seconds.
Wow.
I know. Fuck me. I'm thinking, what the fuck are those, like, packs that, like, IRL streamers have? Unironically, might have to do that for my, my normal stream, just in case this happens. Oh, okay. That's good done. So, you were talking before about how...
Yeah, I don't read sticking tongue down the throat as... I read that as an abrupt kiss that quickly escalates. It's not necessarily tongue straight down the throat. It's like people will say sticking tongue down the throat to mean an abrupt kiss that quickly escalates.
Okay. If my friend, for example, told me that she'd gone out on a night out and some guy had shoved his tongue in her mouth. Just that in and of itself, I got that as a text message. I would just assume that there was some kind of assault or some kind of like something bad has happened there, right? Consent boundaries have been violated.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what she's saying.
But I'd say it's more than just like an abrupt kiss. Because with an abrupt kiss, I would say, you know, that could be whatever. That could be totally consensual. And it's kind of a heat of the moment kind of passionate kiss.
Sure, but you're saying like sticking tongue down the throat means that someone is like fucking has their tongue poked out, shoving it down someone's mouth as the first action, and showing that's like how you're.
Yeah, I know. I said that.
Well, then, yeah, then I think we agree on what sticking tongue down the throat means. It's an abrupt kiss that quickly escalates, whether it's consensual or not. You know, sometimes it might be someone abruptly kisses and sticks their tongue down someone's mouth, and it goes fine, and they're actually fine with it, and they kiss back and they're actually totally fine with it. Sometimes it might be that they're a bit bewildered by the situation. They don't really know whether to go along with it or not, so maybe they go along with it for a moment, and then you continue pushing on their sexual boundaries until you jack off on them. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's like totally terrible, and you're immediately pushed away. But I mean, all of these things can be sticking your tongue down someone's throat.
No, that's fair then. Maybe that's too harsh of a read on it then. I guess if you had to give percentage then, what percentage do you think he's going to come up with a response that's kind of convincing and adds details that clears this up?
Chance he comes out with a response that's convincing, like 35-40%.
Oh, okay. So you think 60% that what she said is probably going to still
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't
stand?
seen enough evidence to completely sell me on it. It's just like based on what she's shown, it looks pretty solid. She's got a good case based on what I've seen. If she's characterizing it accurately, it seems all good. But then there's so much missing, and he seems pretty confident. So, I mean, I think 35-40% that he can come back from this.
I think the way that she, I mean, especially, I might be getting super fucking biased by the fact that she seems to call him a predator for kind of, she definitely insinuates that he's building up to this for like 3 years. But maybe that's like too biased me too against her characterizations. I just seem to find that whenever she characterizes something, I just expect the most extreme characterization. So it makes it
just because she's saying that up to it for years doesn't necessarily mean that she's saying it's like a perpetually intentional, like Machiavellian master plan to get her there. It's like this can mean like you curate a certain image that you present to women, and then and you continually like pity party and I've got these voices in my head telling me I'm this way, oh, I'm such a terrible person. Oh, I always feel like cheating. Oh, I'm so fucked up. I'm so tortured. And you use them as a therapist for 3 years and then lie to them about the nature of a trip to get them into a situation. Like, that seems like what she's saying. And that seems like what the situation is. But I don't read it as like, it has to be this planned out thing, right? It can be kind of the intention the whole time. Like, there is kind of that underlying intention of sexuality, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a drawn up master plan of like a Machiavellian thing. Like, people just sort of manipulate as they go through life a lot of the time.
Okay. I don't want to, okay. The first video she put out, it's difficult because she's speaking in vaguities, but when she's speaking at the start, especially when she mentions that this has happened before, and she references the Tumblr thing, okay. To touch on the Tumblr thing for a second, I don't want to distract from the point we're going down.
I was unclear. Are there two different other women, or is it just the Tumblr thing? Because it seemed to me like she was saying she was in contact with some other woman, and then there was the Tumblr thing as well. That's what I read from it.
Apparently, she's contacted the Tumblr woman. Is the read I got from it.
Right.
Yeah, but apparently she knew about that in 2021, which is when he sent that DickCord message, if you remember, because they were sent on the exact same day.
Yeah. What, the message to her and the message to Discord?
Yeah, but in the video she makes now, she's characterizing that as, I knew that he was lying when he sent this. So in her mind, she's right.
I don't think she was, wait. She wasn't, she didn't say, I knew that he was lying when he sent this. Did she?
Silent, mental health. Any guys?
I thought she believed them.
He told me it's false, and there's no way it could be true because he wasn't there. But it turns out he told Discord something different. He told Discord he was there,
Yeah, but
and his father...
it turns out, implies to me that later on she found out that he told the Discord something different.
But that was posted on the same day. So unless much, much later, i.e. kind of like since the trip and since this fallout, she found that second Discord message. And then since this kind of fallout, this holiday, she's then gone back and contacted the Tumblr lady.
That's what I assumed from her.
Okay, that might be a different read then. Okay, so I think I'm contextualizing it in the past. We might be... Fuck. I wish we had logs for when this happened, or when she said she knew about stuff. Because my read on it is, she's seen both of these, they seem to be contradictory, seem to be weird. She's contacted the Tumblr girl, and yet, years later, she's still friends with him. But she's going back and then painting it in a very, very starkly kind of like... Well, a very stark picture.
The way I read it was they go on the trip, and then after the trip, when she feels like he's a terrible fucking person, she goes back and starts looking back through the friendship, and is like, "Oh, he told me this about this allegation that was on Tumblr of him being a predator. Maybe I should look into that." And then goes and looks into that. That's how I read it. But I mean, I don't know if that's what happened.
That's fair. I mean, but the problem is she's painting when she found out, when she had the conversation, and the characterization all in one fell swoop. And so my read on her characterizations is this is what she thinks today, not necessarily what she thought at the time.
Well, what she's saying is at the time she thought this was fake. She thought the Tumblr thing was fake, right? Because that's what he told her. And then now she's changed her mind because she found out that he contradicted himself in the explanations, and that the explanation that he gives in his Discord doesn't actually disqualify the Tumblr post from being true, because he would actually be in Nashville. He would be with his dad, and the girl mentions leaving his dad's house. So now she's gone back and looked at it, thought he's lying, and has gotten in contact with the girl.
So do you think this is a screenshot somebody else has taken and has sent to her after she's been digging over the last few months? Or, well, the last year or so?
I don't know. It could even be from the girl that posted the Tumblr thing. She could have reached out to the person that runs the Tumblr blog and then got in contact, and then this person's like, "Yeah, look, I've got this screenshot. Look, he lied about this." It could be that. So
it could be.
But I don't know why it doesn't read to me like she knew during the duration of the friendship that he had contradicted himself like this. Because she says it turns out, so that implies to me that it's after looking into it.
Because she talks about it in this video as well, which is what I think it's like 7 weeks after the holiday, right? Yeah, like 2 months.
Yeah.
Because she talks about it in here. Let me try and find it. Okay. So this is in 2023, and she says, I recently got in contact with somebody. Right, so, it might be after the holiday, after she receives that message from the ex, after she gets blocked. Then she gets in contact with them. I recently got in contact with somebody he assaulted 7 years ago, and as she and I have been talking, it's been blatantly clear that none of what I figured out was a revelation. This man has done the same things, using the excuse, he's being manipulative and lying, and coercing for almost a decade. Okay. I guess my read is that the allegation here is that it's like Machiavellian, it's planned out, but maybe she just means emotionally manipulative. I mean, because she calls him a predator. But I would say...
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so when we're talking, like, people who are, like, predatory, even people who do, like, super crazy shit, aren't, like, don't often think to themselves, like, yeah, I'm going to go many years in advance, I'm going to let this friendship go on for 3 years, and I'm going to, at the 3-year mark, I'm going to ask her to go on a friend trip with me, and that's the ultimate conclusion. When we go on the friend trip, that's when I'm going to spring my trap. It's like, the manipulation is a character trait. It's like how they interact with people, and they manipulate over time, and they just take opportunities when they get them. They just move through life being a manipulative person because those are the behaviors they've developed. And so when she's saying this guy's a predator, he uses these tactics, that doesn't have to mean like he's written out on a fucking whiteboard a flowchart, his Dennis system for exactly how he's going to do this. He has these behaviors where he is predatory towards people.
But I think that I think predatory implies, or I'd say predatory requires for that word to even make sense in this application. An extreme level of premeditation, no? Well, not an extreme level of
I think
premeditation.
it would be
That's over.
I think it would be predatory alone. Just the thing where he says we're just going on this trip as friends, and once they're on the trip and she's in a non-sober state and he's fully sober, he makes an abrupt move on her. Just that alone, like that's almost getting towards a point where I'm fine with her calling it predatory. Now, if he starts pestering, pushing past boundaries, trying to, bargain and be like, just a tip, yeah, you're fucking predatory. You lied to get there, and then you're pushing past every boundary possible that once you're in the encounter. So yeah, you're predatory. That's enough premeditation at that point. It's not like predatory doesn't require you to plan 6 months in advance.
Do you think when he said about the friend trip, he genuinely just wanted it to be like a friend trip, or is he saying that with the knowledge that, oh, okay,
No,
if I say this, you'll come?
If she has laid down a clear, explicit boundary just beforehand, said we're not having sex, 8-page manifesto, and then he says, "Oh, you've shown me the light. I need to get therapy. Let's go on a friend trip." That already, I'm like, that seems mega dishonest. Anyone that is like saying, "You've shown me the light, I need to go into therapy," that's a red flag, first of all. Second one, immediately asking for a friend trip and pretending that you're just going to be friends when obviously you've got issues around boundaries with sexual boundaries in your friendships and not cheating. So second red flag for being dishonest. Then trips over. When he's talking to her, he starts pulling the pity party. Oh, I became just like the way the voice in my head tell me I am. Like, yeah, okay, at this point, you're a mega liar. I don't believe any of your self-reported state of mind to this person. This is like obvious manipulation.
I think those are genuine, and I think you give her charity for the fact that she's the kind of person who'll go on a friend trip. She's kind of like, liberal and kind of whatever, maybe polyamorous, right? And then you expect that she probably has laid out her boundaries explicitly.
Polyamorous people. No, I think anyone who is saying stuff like, "Oh, you didn't deserve this. I became the way the voices in my head tell me I am." Anyone that's saying that sort of thing is emotional. That is emotionally manipulative. That alone is emotionally manipulative.
But
that is just clear evidence of emotional manipulation. Then, with the other stuff beforehand, where he's pretending that he's just had this sudden come to Jesus moment, that is very obviously emotionally manipulative. I have clear points where he is being obviously manipulative. I don't have that for her.
But you don't give him the charity to say that he's in this like literature book TikTok sphere, and he may very well say like, I do need to go to therapy. Fuck, I need to sort this out. I've become exactly as the voices say I am. I mean, obviously not talking about voices, but in terms of like self-critically, talking about stuff. Like, for example, he sends that message saying like, I'll probably always be a cheater, and she brings that up as if that's a sincere message that he says to like almost like smugly or kind of matter-of-factly. But it makes sense in the rest of the context of the messages. He's not happy about that, right? He's kind of slightly distraught. And if he's trying to...
No, I think he's not happy about that in the same way Destiny's not happy about that when he says it. He says, yeah, I mean, this is just how I am. This is just how I am. That's what that is. That's an acceptance of how you are and unwillingness to change. That is what he's saying there. And I think that seemed like how she was presenting it, was that he is an acceptance of how he is and is completely unwilling to change. He knows that he will continue doing this and isn't going to change it.
I disagree. I think that is in line with like, the voices, I'm becoming exactly what they say I am. This seems to be something he struggles with, and he seems to have like self-critical thoughts about it, like negative self-talk around it. He's kind of, he doesn't like this. He judges himself for it.
Yeah, negative self-talk that he deflects to when he's being confronted on things that he's done wrong, when he's acknowledging wrongdoing.
Well, acknowledging wrongdoing, I mean, she had an about it. This isn't like he's spinning on a dime.
No. A week after the trip, on the 28th, when he's saying, when he's like, you didn't deserve this, this is what did he say in that fucking message again? He says, my wife
deserved to know this. You didn't deserve this. I've become just like the voices.
You didn't deserve this. Okay, yeah, exactly. Yes. Deflecting to critical self-talk that is melodramatic and like, oh, there's voices in my head when you're being confronted on wrongdoing. Like that is manipulative. That is just being manipulative. It's about your wrongdoing, how you fucked up. You're admitting it's about how you fucked up, and then you're immediately going into, I'm such a tortured person. I've been in such a tortured headspace. That's manipulation.
I think it could be overwrought and like emotionally genuine, and that's the way he's talking about it. I mean, this is a relationship where she sent him 8-page manifestos, like about her feelings and how she feels about stuff. She says she does this to friends all the time. If they're in a friendship together, I'm assuming that this might actually be these kind of like flowery descriptions about your own emotional kind of like, I guess your emotional side and delving into your emotions. I don't say that as necessarily manipulative. I say that's totally typical for this kind of relationship.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
I don't think that's very typical. No, I don't think that was typical. I think that was incredibly manipulative, and the constant flicking back and forwards with sudden realizations about his life is like very like that. That is a huge red flag.
Does he have sudden realizations? I mean, he has a realization. I mean, he sends that initial message after they have an hour call, and then she sends him 8 pages to read over, and then even then, I think when he has that realization and thinks about it more, I think that's like a week later, and then after that, he sends that apology to her and says, "Yeah, she deserved to know. I can't believe what I've done to you or whatever. Blah 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 blah." That's like what a week after his wife finds out, a girlfriend at the time. A week after his girlfriend finds out that he's cheated. That's not really spinning on a dime.
No, I'm talking about when he gets the 8-page manifesto. He says, "You showed me the light. I need to go to therapy." Whatever the fuck.
I think he says that days later, because they have that call on the 1st of May.
Yeah, that is like a
First of
sudden
April,
realization. It might not be like as in a 2-second realization, but like that day or the day after something happens, being like, I need to go to therapy. I'm going to turn my life around. That is like an insane sign of manipulation. That's like someone that's just throwing shit out, being like, no, you're right. You're actually right. I'm fixed now. That's what's happening. It's like the I can change Saddam Hussein bit.
So during May, she sends the manifesto. 1st of April, they have the call. And then 10 days later, he says, I just want to say thank you. Got that literal wake-up call again. It meant a lot and motivated me to restart therapy. I'll be starting the week back from Vegas.
Literal wake-up call again. He's even acknowledging it's not the first wake-up call.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, she said she had to like talk him down from cheating several times in the relationship.
Again. Yeah, this guy's fucked. This is just like manipulative as fuck.
So you think he was trying to massage this relationship into a sexual one?
Yeah, he was constantly keeping the door open, constantly trying to keep the door open, constantly trying to keep pressuring it. Well, not even keep the door open, constantly trying to nudge the door open, constantly just putting pressure, being like, oh no, you're right, actually, no, I need to fix myself. But I mean, if you want to fuck, I mean, like, it's that constantly. Just like the cycle repeating again and again until eventually gets her alone.
I think I would agree with that factually, but I feel like I disagree with the characterization of it being one-sided, but that might just be literally something we don't know. And
I mean, I'm not saying that it's necessarily like she might have played into it at some points, but ultimately she is reaffirming boundaries again and again. She's clearly saying, no, I don't want this to progress, I want this to progress. And then he springs something on her, assuming this is true. Like, what I'm saying is, you can grant that she is playing into it, and it still be insanely bad.
I mean, play into it. Okay, that framing, in my opinion, takes away the agency and the intention from her, right? She's in her 30s. She's like a grown woman. It's not something that he's doing to her, and she's playing into what he's doing. This is things that are occurring during their relationship.
Okay, well, then say she can be flirting, and it can still be bad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that was the only point that I was doing. It's not like a cycle where he's trying to do this and he's trying to pester, but they have these things where their relationship becomes flirtatious.
She can be flirting, and it can still be him doing the cycle where he's trying to pester. Those two things can both be happening at the same time.
Is it pestering if it's then reciprocated?
It's pestering if there are explicit boundaries that are set that you keep trying to push past.
It doesn't seem like she sets explicit boundaries, though. She just tells him that it's bad to cheat.
She gave him an 8-page manifesto about how they weren't fucking, and then he tried to fuck her.
No. She gave him an 8-page manifesto telling him about her feelings about cheating. but that's not setting explicit boundaries. That's communicating your emotions.
Okay, well, it seemed to me like when she's saying I had to talk him down from cheating and gave him an 8-page manifesto on my thoughts on cheating. If we're taking that to mean that she was confronting about him cheating with her, then that's her saying we're not fucking unless you break up.
That doesn't sound like if he wants to have sex with her and she just does not, like, no, we're not taking it there. But this relationship is not going there, right? That isn't that's not talking him down from cheating. That's saying, you want to have sex with me? We're not having sex. You're in a relationship.
Okay, so okay.
You see what I mean?
Right. So say all that shit for the first meetup. I'm not convinced, but say all that for the first meetup, for the first instance.
Mm-hmm.
They have that conversation over breakfast. They have this is never going to be sexual again conversation. Yeah. But it happens again. Why does he once again initiate? We
don't know.
What could it be? Because he has a continual pattern of disregarding and pushing past boundaries that is exemplified in the rest of his actions.
But again, that's not a boundary, right?
That is what this relationship will never be sexual.
She said, "We are just friends. This won't happen again."
Yeah, we are just friends. This will never happen again.
Mm-hmm. Is that a boundary?
Because
it seems like they want to engage in a sexual relationship. Both of them, if not for the cheating.
Okay. If she just wants to engage in a sexual relationship, why didn't she do it the first time he confronted her? The first time propositioned.
The first time it's propositioned.
Yeah. Why didn't she just do it the first time?
She wants to, if not for the cheating, or she would, if not for the cheating.
Okay, so she doesn't want to.
Yes.
So what's the it? She would, if not for the cheating. She doesn't want to.
Okay.
It's like you're saying that a boundary based on cheating isn't a real boundary.
Let's pull back. So there's two co-workers at an office, male and female. He's in a relationship, she's not, right? Over time,
I agree that this could affect your read of like what the meaning of the boundary is. Like, let's say two people are in a situation, they're like, oh no, it's cheating. But then they give in. They're like, okay, no, yeah, let's fuck.
But they're
fine with it. Yeah, sure. That might not be as clear of a consent violation. But if there is someone who is giving you an 8-page manifesto on how this is not happening, and then they sit you down off the first instance, like this is never happening again. We're just friends, and you keep going. You clearly don't have much respect for the boundary there.
The problem is this is reliant upon characterizations about how these conversations happen.
Okay, well,
right?
Right. Even just the 8-page fucking document. It's like, how much firmer do you want to fucking be than an 8-page document?
The 8-page document is not saying, here, I'm going to lay out on this next 8 pages how we are never having sex. The next 8 pages are, here are my emotions around this. This is how she describes it. She's explaining her emotions.
Yes. Okay. I am loading into this document the idea that she is saying, I have had to talk him down from cheating numerous times. So I'm loading into that. The part of this document is, don't cheat, we're not fucking.
I find that characterization that she gives, it's talking down from cheating, utterly bizarre. Frankly, that's one of the things that makes me think that the characterizations that she gives are suspect at best, and maybe need to take them with a pinch of salt. She talked him down from cheating. It sounds like she wants to have sex with him, but she ultimately doesn't because she doesn't like the cheating. But there's no talking down there. If you talk somebody down from cheating with you, it's like he asked me for sex and I turned him down. But there's no talking somebody down as if you're convincing them not to cheat. You see what I mean? So the characterization she just gives just seems bizarre for what she then goes on to describe or imply.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not assuming that the talking down from cheating is only about her. I see why you're saying, like, before I assumed it was about other people. I'm only taking your characterization that it's about. I just think that this guy has a problem with cheating. He's saying repeatedly, I will probably always be a cheater and shit like that. Like, all those conversations about cheating, which is, I had to talk him down from cheating multiple times. I don't assume that's all about her, if any of it. It's a continual issue that he's talking about. If she's saying she's been his therapist for 3 years, basically, it sounds like this is something he talks about. It's his issues around cheating. He is a serial cheater.
Okay.
Why would you say I'll probably always be a cheater if you only cheated once in your 7-year relationship?
I think it's the What would it be? Like the impulse to. And he's probably done it in past relationships. He's like in his 30s, right?
But you're saying I will probably always be a cheater. You wouldn't be like after like 5 years of not doing it. You're like, oh, I'm probably past it.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. That is interesting. She must be a cheater. Potentially. I mean, it's hard to know because we don't know the context of that. I don't read that as something that he's kind of accepting and kind of shrugging off. I see that as him again talking about this.
No, but you wouldn't even say it unless it was like unless it was a present and repeated issue in your life. You wouldn't say, "I will probably always be a cheater." You like, why would you say, "I will probably always be a cheater"? What does that mean, other than this is a constant and pervasive issue?
Well, constant and pervasive, but does it need to be constantly acted upon? Do you see what I mean?
Well, you're not a cheater if you don't act on it.
Well, So this is what I'm saying. I think he could well have done the past.
A cheater is someone who violates the constraints of the relationship. Yeah. It's not someone who looks at other women. That's normal. It's the acting that is being a cheater is going and fucking other people. So he's not talking about just look. Oh, he's not like a fucking Giga Christian. He's not like, oh, if I look at another woman, I'm cheating in the mind.
In my own.
No, he's saying I will be a cheater. I am a cheater. I cheat.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think my read on that. I'm gonna have to think through that a bit more. Okay, let me just lay out, I guess, clearly my thought process about him as a person. This guy, I think he's with his girlfriend, but he probably has female friends that he develops deep emotional connections with. He probably wants it to develop into something sexual, but he seems to have, I think, like negative thoughts and negative feelings around that, both in terms of probably the consequences, but then also his own self-perception. I think because it seems to be like in and out, hot and cold, it seems that he's probably not talking about this, and that when it does happen, when these conversations happen, it's probably building up to a certain extent, then maybe gets a little bit too explicit, and then it drives back. So there's never a full conversation about it. Because of that, it's probably all in the heat of the moment. He's maybe more concerned about his own emotions than exactly how she's feeling, because he's finally giving in to this kind of like desire or whatever, right? But it's not that he's explicitly violating consent, and it's not that he's like assaulting people. It's just she seems uncomfortable. Maybe he should have checked in, but maybe she should have said something. And then in each instance, it seems to be that, like, it depends how pestery he is. This is the difficulty. I guess my read initially was he's not going into this where she's explicitly saying no, and then he's going and violating that. It seems like they get into an awkward, heat of the moment, regrettable sexual interaction. But he's not talking about it.
Okay, what do you think is so what do you think is the part that she thinks is violating? What do you think she feels is the assault here? How has the assault happened? What deception or coercion or pressure has been applied? What is the assault in her mind?
Okay. The reason why I think she looks back and characterizes it as assault is the aftermath. She's been a really good friend, and then it's dipped too far, and suddenly she's cast to the side. She's been blocked by her like really close friend of 3 years. Her to the point where his wife is calling her like a disgusting person and saying, "How could you ever do this to somebody? You two are disgusting." She's suddenly becoming like hugely villainized. She's lost a friend for a very long time. She's apparently recently been suffering with like bipolar low points. And she probably looks back at that incident and that night and regrets it. She probably wasn't completely enthusiastically consenting in the moment, but he never checked in, and she never said no. And then she's looked at the social things that have led up to that incident, questions them, and then looks back and thinks, his intentions coming into this were probably a lot more intentional than I realised. I think that's where she's getting that from.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like her read that he was lying about wanting to be friends is probably true. Do you agree with that? Like, he doesn't actually want to be friends with the women that he's befriending. They are there as spinning plates for sexual opportunity.
I think he oscillates. I think he just genuinely would want to be friends with them, but he develops too close an emotional connection, and then if they want to fuck, maybe he'd be interested in it, and maybe he starts to push on that. But I think he genuinely does want to be friends, but he'd be very, very happy if they were to shag him as well.
You think he knows he's a cheater, and he just cultivates a bunch of female friendships that get very close sexually, in addition to his monogamous relationship, as a happy accident?
I think he probably just likes the attention of women, and that's the reason that drives him towards it.
And he's constantly entertaining the idea of a sexual relationship with these women, and then lies about his intentions to get them alone.
Lies about his intentions to get them alone. Well, she never says that she doesn't want to go on to the holiday with him because of this manifesto. She never says that she doesn't want to.
He says it's a friend trip. He says it's a friend trip.
Does she ever say, talking back to the explicit boundaries earlier, does she say, "Hey, I don't want to go on this. I don't want to go on this holiday together if this is going to be what it's like"? And he lies to then say, "Oh no, we can still go on the holiday. Don't worry."
Two things. Do you think she said yes to friend trip? Do you think she would have said yes if he said go on this trip and hook up?
No, but I think if he hadn't said anything, she still would have gone on the trip.
What do you think was his intention with the trip?
I don't think his intention was to have sex. I think his intention at the time when he said it
was to have sex.
No, because I think apparently he knew about this sex issue and he probably would have bought lube or something else. She's the one who suggested staying up, and I think he took that as a sign. He's thinking about it on the plane, and then he maybe thinks that she's changed her mind.
I don't believe that, and if the Tumblr post is even close to true, I double don't believe that, because then there's a pattern of him disregarding those sorts of medical issues to just...
Well, the Tumblr post is completely unverified, right?
Well, the Tumblr post is publicly unverified, yeah. But if there's any truth to it, then I will be totally sold on this woman's allegation, because it's just the same behavior.
I agree with that.
It's unverified. It's a post that heavily lines up with actual facts and with behavior that was seemingly exhibited later, that was posted years before, completely disconnected. So, I mean, yeah, it is unverified, but it's also like the sort of thing that you should probably look at and be like, it's really weird that this guy lied to this woman about where he was when this thing happened, had a contradictory story in his Discord that does line up more heavily with this story that was on Tumblr, and then years later seems to exhibit the same behavior that was posted about in this Tumblr. That's like,
I don't know
what the fuck's going on there?
I don't know if there's more to this Tumblr, but there's not a lot of details even given. Daniel Greene is a rapist. He raped me in the summer of 2016. He's a YouTuber now with 100,000 followers. Please do not follow him. He uses social justice issues for his own gain as a white straight man. He did many things to me without my consent, and then he raped me and left me to leave his father's house bleeding.
Yeah, so the parts that I'm taking as fact are the idea that this girl who posted this must be in Nashville, based on what he was saying, right?
Yeah.
Because he said, I couldn't have even been in the place where this happened at the time.
Yeah.
So that implies that he knows where this person is claiming this happened.
Sorry. I thought you meant that this allegation claimed facts that lined up with what she is now alleging and her current story. I misunderstood what you were saying. Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, there are things that happen around this that point to this possibly having some weight to it. So it's the fact that he was in Nashville. He knows that this person is claiming it to be in Nashville. He was at his father's place while he was in Nashville.
Yeah.
Claims that he's disqualified from being there, so he's then lied about it. And then later on down the line, he has the same behavior of disregarding, not just consent, but also like physical harm to the woman when trying to fuck them, right? So those factors all appearing is like, it's very strange that this post years ago that's completely disconnected from its current situation seems to have so many points in common with both the manipulation, the facts of the story, and then the claims that Naomi's made.
Does it's the manipulation?
Yeah, because if he's because he's lying to Naomi about about his location at the time, right?
Oh, right. Personally, since they were posted on the same day, I don't know if he
says that I wasn't even in the state at the time, but he was in the state at the time. In fact, he was staying with his dad at the time, just like the Tumblr said. But he doesn't say, yeah, I was staying with my dad at the time, but that didn't happen. He says, I wasn't even in the state at the time. That's a lie.
I just said during 2016. Let me find the text.
He
mute
told
this
me.
and fast forward. I literally could not have been in that state. I think unless it blows up, I'm going to try and go beige, and that's 6:11 a.m. And then, but before...
Well, I mean, we don't know time zones, so...
Oh, that's
It's
true. These
probably
could have been taken different things.
But the point here is that he's clearly lied to Naomi. I couldn't have been in the state at that time. That is a blatant lie. If the other thing is true, which we can only assume it to be. Like, why would you cop to details of a story accusing you if they're not true? Like, why would you just say, yeah, I was in my dad's house in Nashville, if you weren't actually in your dad's house in Nashville when this rape was being... Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I wish I'd gone back and read that text again. Yeah, that does line up more than I expected. That does change things, actually. That does change things. Okay, I'm going to take some screenshots and reconsider this then. Because the weight that this allegation has does push me in a different direction.
Yeah, it's just like, especially if this woman's in contact. I mean, obviously we haven't seen a whole lot, but like, I mean, it's just very fucking weird that even the idea that someone who posted a Tumblr blog like this years ago would be contactable at this point if they were just trolling, if it was just like a no-name burner trolling, like, you know, just try and fuck with this guy and not get sued for defamation. Yeah, if it was just that, they're still active, they're still around, they're responding to a message, there's a way for this person to contact them. Like, that alone is like already like, well, why the fuck is that the case if it's just a complete random? But then then the shit that lines up as well. It's like, okay, what the fuck? But that's assuming obviously they are actually in contact, and you know, it could be that it's total bullshit. But it's just more, it's a little bit more than just a like tweet saying this guy raped me. It's like, well, no, you've got a bit more information here that makes it seem a bit strange. And then him lying is just like, well, why do you need to lie about it? It's not true.
Oh, wait. So, okay. I'm remembering now. This is where I'm going. Read this again. So, this is someone taking what they know about me and trying to push it into something. I literally have receipts. I was either literally not where my dad lives or with him because I was visiting him. Wasn't really looking at my section account. Okay, so we did visit his dad in Nashville at the time. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, like he says, well, yeah, I was with my dad there, but you know, I wouldn't have wanted to fuck anyone while I was staying at my dad's place. But like he loads it as well with, I either literally wasn't there or I was staying at my dad's. But it alleges that you're staying at your dad's. That's in the allegation, is that you're staying at your dad's. So saying I wasn't there or I was staying at my dad's, well, that doesn't really mean anything. No, we get you were staying at your dad's. That's part of the story here. So the only reason you would include that first part of I either wasn't there or staying at my dad's is to try and throw doubt on it, is to muddy the water, to deflect, say, well, sometimes I wasn't there. Well, it's not about the times where you weren't there, it's about the times where you were there, because it's an allegation of you being at your dad's. So it's a very suspicious message to even put out.
I mean, it changes if he's publicly posting about where he's going, and at the time he has like thousands of YouTube followers and stuff. Sorry, hundreds of thousands at the time. But yeah, that is still more than I gave it weight for. What's your read on that then? Why would he then post something in a public Discord, in a general server, presumably? Yeah, a general server, general channel. If we are to assume that these are the same time zones, 6:07 a.m. and then 6:11 a.m. like 4 minutes later, I'm assuming that she's started this conversation and then he's responding. Why would you say something in a public server when you're an online personality that contradicts with something that you're going to tell your friend?
Sorry,
That's what I But yeah, why would you say something in a public Discord server as a public internet personality that so strongly contradicts with an intentional lie that you're going to tell with somebody else in private?
I think he feels like, if I were to guess, he feels like he can get away with lying to this Naomi person because it's just like some fucking dumb woman that's not going to look into it too much and he just wants to fuck her and thinks he can just slide by and not address anything. And if he gives more detail, he might have to answer more questions. Whereas in his Discord, there's probably publicly known facts that he has to account for, that people are going to be aware of, and they will scrutinize his story if he says something that's inaccurate or untrue.
Right. Oh, the least consequential part of the story, or at least so far as I thought, might actually turn out to be the thing that changes my mind so heavily about this. Okay, God. In terms of percentage, I'd have to think more about it. But I definitely need to think through it more. Huh. But you say you're 60-40 that her characterization and what she's saying is accurate and true.
Yeah.
I might be there or at least close to there. Because I see what you mean. The characterizations become very, very different and have a bigger ring of truth. Huh. Okay. Especially with the clarification that in this video she's saying that it was recently after the thing that she went through and then contacted that person. Went back and contacted them. I guess another take on this is, why do you think she's making a video now? Because the cease and desist was sent in June, thereabouts, of 2023. Or July? June, July?
Why do I think she's making a video now?
In 2025.
It could be that there's a negotiation that we haven't seen, that there was an attempt to get maybe the lawyers to back off, and she's sick of it. I don't know. She could just be fucking crazy and getting provoked, so she's starting to leak shit. I don't know, a number of reasons. But I don't understand. What I don't understand is if like it is just total bullshit. It would be like the most insane move ever to already be under threat of litigation and then just publish a grossly defamatory video for no reason a year later. And that would be such an insane, retarded, like against your own interests move. It's like,
I don't think she thinks this is going to cause any legal issues for her. At least as she's saying. She says again and again and again that, listen, I'm not saying that video was true. That video talks about nobody. And so I don't think she realizes that publishing this video is going to have further legal consequences.
I don't know how you what do you mean she doesn't realize?
But I don't know why she would take pains to say that, oh, that video, I'm still not saying it's about him. That video is, doesn't mention any details. I'm not saying it's about him.
She says, I'm not saying that video is about him. I never said that video is about him. Here's what he did.
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't know why you go through that rigmarole.
Because I think the point is to say that that he is essentially accepting responsibility in some form by looking at a video that isn't actually about anyone, just sort of vaguely talks about some concepts and alludes to an experience she had, and then immediately file a cease and desist against them. Like that's basically you said, yeah, this is about me, when she never said that.
Well, she says, about 2 months ago, I had a friend turn out to not be a friend because he coerced me. He went home and then was like, you bring out the worst in me, and he blocked me, hasn't spoken to me since. She's publicly posting about who she's going on holiday with. She's making Instagram posts. Did
people figure out who this was? Was he on the Instagram posts?
I'd need to go back because she shows she was posting on Instagram.
She showed her at a hotel, like by the pool or some shit.
They're too public. I might need to get clarification on that then. Has she actually posted about this explicitly? That he was there?
My sense was that no one knew that this was about this guy until she posted the second video.
Oh, fair play. But in terms of him sending a cease and desist in response to this video, because it's not just in response to this video. She says that, but it's not. It's in response to
the document she sent to the wife or whatever.
Yes. Yes, the message is sent to the wife. There's something else, and then there's the video.
Yeah, but that is the point, though, right? He's copying to the fact that video is about him by filing a cease and desist. He's saying that video is about me.
Yeah. Well, it's not copying to the fact like he's admitting it, right? He clearly contests the facts. Do you not think?
Well, he might contest the characterization, but he's saying that video is about me, despite not naming me, despite not actually being any seeming public way to discern that it was about me. It is about me.
Would that be to get ahead of it?
So that's what she's saying. Is she's saying, I never said it's about him. I never named him. I wasn't going to call this guy out. He's saying that video was about him.
I get what he means, but I mean, like, this was published on June 19th. She's already sent his girlfriend stuff. If he apparently, let's say, he does have evidence that disproves all of this, right? And shows that this is completely false, and she knows it's false, and she's lying, right? Let's just for a second grant that. Would it not make sense that he would be like, okay, let's put the fucking kibosh on this, right? June 19th, she posts it after sending text to the wife, and then June 26th, he sends her a cease and desist. and he hasn't followed through with this cease and desist, despite the fact that she hasn't deleted the video. So it seems like he's just probably content with her not publicly talking about it anymore. Until now, she makes this video. Oh, whoops. She makes this video, and now he's intending to file suit against her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't have access to all the correspondence. We just don't know what was said. Like, were they still? It could have been that they were still in talks and they were pressuring her to take the video down still. Right.
She was in contact with the lawyer before, because she shows emails that she had with the lawyer. But I would find it odd that she's talking about emails she's sending back and forth with the lawyer, but she doesn't talk about communications they had afterwards. Is that? I mean, it's possible. I think that's quite unlikely. So that's June 20... Oh, no, that is afterwards. Oh, she never responds. The lawyer never responds to this email.
So, I mean, it seems like there's been issues with communicating with the lawyers. I mean, she says that like, a few things seem to allude to that about the website being shit or whatever the fuck, and like using a template or whatever. So it seems like there's been issues with the lawyers. It's been stalling in the background, and she's pissed off that this guy tried to kind of silence her. So now she's like, well, fuck you, I'm going to talk about it.
A year and a half later. I'm not trying to press it in any kind of rhetorical point. I mean, I just really don't understand what's going on. I've seen something that a few months ago he got engaged. I don't know if it's anything to do with that. Am I dead?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I don't. Did you respond? I didn't catch it.
No, I just don't know. I don't know if it's to do with her engagement or his engagement or whatever.
I think that's... Yeah. It seems very, very weird. It seems very, very weird, if nothing else. I feel there's a lot left out. Whether it's actually dispositive or not, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's obviously a lot left out. I mean, there's what's redacted in some of the messages. I agree that you can't draw like a firm conclusion about it, but I just don't think that the I think that there's just people are just so willing to accept that a guy like this is just indecisive, like being retarded. It's like, I mean, we've got him like obviously lying about this allegation, and then it just like her characterization makes way more sense based on the parts that we do have presented to us than his does, I think. Well, like, he doesn't even really have a characterization right now, but based on what we've got, it heavily leans in one direction. Like if you're admitting fault like that, that's like, that looks really bad. Like just that one message of him admitting fault and saying his voice in his head and shit. Like that's already really bad for any allegation situation if you're caught sending a message like that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Definitely in terms of the public optical suppose. April, May, April. I'm trying to have a look at his Instagram. April 20th. Okay. There is no posts. He was in London during the 18th of April. Okay. I don't know what the motivation would be then. Maybe not on... maybe the motivation isn't about the public. I think the motivation's probably so she doesn't speak about it anymore in public. And then maybe he's worried about friends, but I've got no clue.
He probably just hates this guy, thinks he's a total fucking piece of shit for what he did, and is like, well, fuck you for putting legal threats on me. And now she feels like more safe to do it because it's been a year. They've tried settling it and nothing happened. That's what I would guess.
You might be right. Oh man, I don't know. I think she's made. I don't want to use this against her. It feels unfair. She's made several things about what's it? So the day before she made this video, she says I'll go public this week. Oh, and then a week before that. Okay, sorry. So a week ago, she posted this. Said, bad at posting, so here's a little dump from life. Hanging out, need to talk to my doctor to increase my bipolar meds, because these moods have been whacked lately. And the next post is 3 days ago, talking about trauma in 2023. I think she's posted about this several times on her Instagram. And yeah,
I mean,
it's just been something she's ruminated on.
Yeah, I don't necessarily... Like, I mean, she reposted about having bipolar and still have been raped.
No, I know. I'm thinking in terms of motivations.
It's not one of those things where it's like, I mean, she could be spazzing out, but if she's spazzing out on bipolar, she's been spazzing out with the same perception of this event for the last year and a half or whatever, so... Maybe
the time passed since the legal threat makes her weighs into that a lot more then. Okay. Okay. I mean, in terms of how stable or rational she is, I mean, she makes the comments about, like, if I disappear, you know what happened to me.
Yeah, people kept reading that as if she was saying she was going to be killed, but I thought that was more sort of like referring back to the fact they said they wanted her removed from her platforms in the legal threat, basically saying like, well, if my channel goes down, if you never see me again, you know what happened.
That
It's
makes
like
a lot
sort
more
of
sense.
it's kind of like she is using the language you would use if you were talking about like, you know, getting Clinton or something. Basically, if you're making like one of those jokes, but it's like either it's tongue in cheek or just like using the term being over dramatic or something. I don't know, but I think what she is referring to there is the idea of her channel's being taken down, removed from her platforms, like they said in the initial threat.
The read I got from it as she was talking through the legal stuff is she seems like she's totally lost at sea, and in fact, it doesn't seem like she's consulted a lawyer at all because she doesn't seem
I think it would be
certain whether or not
crazy.
he's.
I mean, it would be insane for her to have not consulted a lawyer at all, but I mean, it's totally possible.
Because she doesn't seem to. She seems uncertain about whether he's going to, quote unquote, come after her for this video that she's making. And then she goes through pains to say that I'm still not admitting the prior video is about him. It's not about him. You know, he seems to claim that it's about him. And that seems to be seemingly for legal reasons. Do you not get that read?
I mean, it could be. She's very retarded if she didn't consult a lawyer at all. But yeah, that doesn't necessarily make me doubt her claim. I feel like.
No. I've changed gears.
You'd
I've
always
changed
be.
gears. Listen, I'm not saying any of this for the fact of, like, you don't believe this crazy bitch, do you? She's got bipolar. You don't believe this crazy bitch, do you? She hasn't even talked to a fucking lawyer, dude.
I mean, she could be making really stupid decisions for sure. I don't doubt that. She probably is crazy.
The thing with me bringing up the borderline thing was, I guess subreddit or another thought that I've had that maybe it's nothing to do with the engagement. And maybe this is just something she's been ruminating on because of mental health. And then finally, yeah. But it could be something else. Yeah.
I mean, it could be to do with the engagement too. I'm sure the engagement really plays into it. If you recently got engaged and announced that, she probably saw that and probably wasn't feeling good about it, I'd imagine. But I mean, is it just because of that? Probably not. I mean, she's clearly felt this way for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, bipolar might play into it as well, might play into decision making, but I don't think any one of these things is entirely explanatory for why she's acting like this.
Okay, go through what would you in recap. The veracity of this makes me think. Yeah. I might have to go and have a look at some of this evidence then.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I don't think I can think of anything else to say. But I appreciate you calling in, mate. It's been interesting. But yeah, hopefully we get something more. Might be able to chat about it then. See you later.
All right. See ya.
There we go. God, how long was that call, Buck? Thinking through something live on stream is not something that I think I'm going to get used to. No, I probably will. That's interesting, though. I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to think about this some more. If anyone else wants to call in, you can if you'd like. Yeah, I'll just go back to the page and just to the live page and see what's going on there. Pretty long. Got almost 2 hours. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay. We've hashed it out. Fully hashed it out. Long call, but it was good. Yeah. You're way too stubborn to change your mind live. Yeah. I think I am the same. That's what I'm saying. At no point am I gonna, whatever. Just be honest to, like, go through the individual things. But I'm not, even myself, I'm probably not gonna go through and change my mind now. Okay. I'm gonna play alerts.
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
Mro tipped $10 through Super Chat. Clean up on aisle. My pants. I pooped out my bum into my shorts. LOL.
Thank you for the $10, Morale. And then Mira, that should be playing soon. Anyone can call in, so long as you've got, I guess, like thoughts about the situation or a particular read that you feel like wasn't gone through here.
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
Muratazapine tipped $5 through Super Chat.
It's not reading out the TCS for some reason. When a guy friend offers to take you on a trip, just be wary, ladies. Yeah. Hello, Babka. How's it going?
Hi, I just wanted to remind you to chill. You have a lot of viewers right now. I think about 109.
Do I actually?
And I just wanted, and I wanted to remind you to chill while they're still here.
What do you mean while they're still here? As if they're gonna go. Listen, if you're watching the stream, hugely appreciate it. If you're watching the stream, hugely appreciate it.
You're getting too big for your boots.
That's not a new one. I just fucked up with my Streamlabs. Thank you very much. If you would like the stream, I would appreciate it. Takes 2 seconds. Just move your finger down, move your cursor down, okay? If you do want to donate, we can send it through a super sticker. I'll read it out. If you want to send it through a super chat, $3, and you get the TTS to read out whatever's in the message. And then you get your name up there. That's cool. There we go. Thank you very much, though.
Also, don't forget to join the Discord. Come hang out. There's a link in chat. There's a link in the bio. Okay. Bye.
Let me just do the command. Because if people want to do hop in the Discord and then continue further. Babka, did you want me to shill during the fucking conversation? Okay.
Yes, and I said in my quote, it's a little bit rude, but just do it anyway. Because you were at like 1:30.
About whether this woman was raped. It's like, by the way, guys.
Yeah, I mean, but
if you want to join the Discord, if you want to join the subreddit. Okay.
So, anyway, bye.
See ya. There's definitely a fact pattern where, for me, I don't think he's done anything grossly immoral. Definitely negligent with how he's conducted himself during sex, though. Definitely a creep. I feel it just makes very, very extreme allegations. Especially to... She used the term sexual assault in a way that I'm probably not comfortable with. At least so far as, like, my definitions go. I think there would have to be some kind of... Although, do they count boundary violations? It's tricky. It's tricky. Astro John.
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
Hello.
Hold on 1 second. Thank you for
Smoker
Spence Smoker for the $5.
tipped £5 through Super Chat.
£5?
Take my money.
Holy shit. People out here donating real money. Holy fuck. How's it going, John? You're right, mate.
Oh, good. So, I was just wondering, because when it came to, like, the, I guess the message that Naomi had sent to, I guess was it a girl? Was it the girlfriend?
Girlfriend
right?
at the time, currently fiance, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like the way that was portrayed, it was almost like, where the wife responded with saying that they were both, like, horrible people, kind of, to me, kind of implied that in some way they were both, like, bad. Or, like, it seemed like it was, like, more of, like, a cheating thing between those two, and it was, like...
Yeah. I think she explicitly says that, she was at the airport, the wife sent some kind of message, and it's when she got home, I think, because she must have not had signal. So it's when she got home, she saw that you both are disgusting people. How could you do this to somebody for years? Right?
Right, yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, where that comes from. Apparently she intended, I think she did say about cheating initially. Apparently she intended to tell her more, but by the time she got home, she's already got that message. Personally, I don't really understand that part.
Yeah, that was the part that I didn't really understand either. Just because, I don't know, it's like, it makes me feel like I don't know how you wouldn't, like, specify more of the situation of what was going on if you were, like, talking about, like, the cheating, I guess.
That, personally, that leads me to think that, in the instance, she may be confused about how she thought about it. It seems by 7 weeks later, after she's spoken to this Tumblr person, then she's pretty sure how she feels about it. But it doesn't seem like she's very confident or very certain how she feels about it in the days after. Or at the very least, I don't think at this time she thinks of it as assault. And then when
I see what you mean.
Yeah, and then when she releases the video on the 19th...
And then when she's like, yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. That makes a lot more sense then. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
God, I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Alright, thanks.
Have a good one. Yeah. Okay. He probably lied about it. I think he, even on my reading where he has done something wrong. Oh, a super sticker. Fuck. No. Fuck. How do I get this in text? How do I see what it says? Okay, fuck. I saw the thing. Fuck. So it's a 5 CHF from Luigi TT, and it's a lemon character walking with a little turnip pear character tooting a trumpet. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I forgot about the delay, so I hopped in to just read it for you because it was pissing me off. But I'm gonna go now.
Thank you, yeah. The delay's not too bad today. Yeah, I added an extra delay earlier. Thankfully, I was really worried that the stream was going to completely fucking die when Kuihman was on. But, yeah. Man. Yeah. A lot of missing details. It's hard to even be definitive. Talking about it. Tell you what. That might be the end of that segment. I think I'm going to give my brain a little bit of a rape rest, okay?